Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Negative Camber the Motorsport Show is proudly supported by Pro Karts Paraka, Red Mill Bakery, Moviesoft Trailer Hire, Enphase Microinverters, Radio Italia Uno, QuickBooks, and TD Racing.
By being a racing driver means you are racing with other people. And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. I race designed to win.
Welcome to Negative Camber.
Down the inside, Hamilton sees it coming. It's a late lunge by Verstappen, who takes the lead of the race.
If it's motorsport you want, then this is the place to be. All of the latest results, analysis and interviews.
And a great start for car number 11. D'Alberto's got away beautifully at the start of the great race.
Proudly sponsored by True Steel Frames, a leading supply, service and manufacturer of steel frames and roof trusses. And now it's time to introduce your hosts, Jamie Lemure and Leigh Harrison.
Hello everyone and welcome to Negative Camber, the motorsport show proudly supporting the Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide. I'm Jamie Lemure, your host for this evening, and it's our season finale as well here for what's been a quite successful season 2 of Negative Camber. And we've taken a punt in this particular episode because not only can this man mimic the man standing by himself meme at the circuit of Mount Gambier, but he's now decided that he is going to be behind the decks as our producer. I'm talking about the wonderkind Mr. Leigh Harrison. Hello, sir.
Good day, my friend.
Whoa.
How are you?
Hey, good, man. Good. Easy on the volume there, man. You just about blew my eardrums apart.
It's because I'm sitting so close to the microphone.
And how are you anyway, before we introduce our third guest?
I'm doing really well. Look, the nerves have kicked in a little bit here, sitting behind the other side of the desk. It's going to be a fun night, though. But, otherwise, super well.
Well, you're in the firing line because we were meant to have the A-team, and now one of them is actually fallen crook, and that's Cash Me Outside. How about that, Mr. Andrew Cash?
I heard that he went to McDonald's and ate a cheeseburger that's not agreeing with him.
Oh, really?
That'll learn him from sticking, shying away from KFC for a change.
Yes, his sponsors will be very, very disappointed
exactly.
with that. But
yeah.
instead of the A-team, it's now the Dream Team, because alongside me is Mr. Matt Biscuits Mahar. Hello, my friend.
Good evening.
How are you?
Oh, I'm here.
You here?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, up and ready for it.
Fantastic. I wanted to get rid of Careless Whisper. I thought if Cashy was here, I would have given your intro as Careless Whisper again by George Michael, but instead we go a bit up tempo tonight because it's the season finale. But thank you for getting the call up. Now we can actually hang garbage all over our mate there behind the mic in the centrepiece over there as well.
At least he's come in the right sort of T-shirt. Casey Kane Motorsport is one of my favourite teams as well.
He gave you the death stare when you mentioned about Casey Kane. What's the story behind that?
He's a Muppet. It's a Keith Kunz Motorsport team. So, for those that don't know, Keith Kunz rolls up to your average midget race with about 9 cars and usually puts about 8 of them into the feature, which is pretty impressive in a 24, 26 car field.
That is very impressive. Very impressive. Speaking of impressive, I think we did all right for the Karting SA Awards on Friday night.
Look, I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but we've definitely stepped it up from last year, and I think that we might even get a call back for next year based on our form.
Well, I hope so. It'd be nice, considering all the promo work we do for the sport. But I think I was actually surprised at the amount of people that didn't actually show up that had registered that they were going to attend. I don't know whether it had something to do with the Monarto race meet that was coming up on the weekend, or the fact that a lot of them went to go and see Biscuits and Cashy race and dirt on the Friday night.
Use the term racing loosely.
Ooh.
Participating.
That was better for the first couple, yeah.
Yeah. But, it was a good night. It felt a lot easier and a lot more smoother than year one.
Practice makes perfect.
Yes. It was a bit weird, though, being sort of stuck in the corner and having the tables on either side of us like a set of wings. But I guess with all the work that they were doing downstairs at the Chasers Function Centre.
That was from the big wins that we had recently. That blew all of those windows out. So I was speaking to Rob beforehand. I was like, oh, they're doing some pretty major renovations. He was like, no, that was the last lot of wind that we had. They blew all the windows out. So
I thought Zach might have had a win down there during the week on the dogs.
He got after it.
Oh, God. Might do it. This is going to be the theme for tonight, folks. That any sort of form of decorum has quickly gone out the window.
It's disappeared.
We'll test Leigh's reaction on the old button.
No, please don't. There's enough buttons behind here that I'll probably miss and hit something I'm not supposed to.
Oh, we need to throw some dirt on Leigh. I reckon there's some of the stories that we shared amongst each other at the 500 during the week, I think, need to be aired and told.
That's a dangerous start. I mean, Leigh does owe the people the story of the exploding number plate, though, that was aired during the week.
Not happening.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
With Mr. Roger Verstappen.
Shall we do it then?
Oh, no, Leigh needs to tell it because I was way too drunk. I was there for it, but I don't remember it, to be honest.
All right, well, before we get out of control and too loose on ourselves here, there is a special announcement that I want to make. And that is that and it's going to Ferrari Club. All right. So next year, 2023, the Ferrari Club will host the first South Australian Hire Kart Championship. So we originally ran a Hire Kart series that was club related, but now we've decided to move beyond that and actually have a series dedicated to the Hire Kart driver. So there'll be 5 rounds that will cover a majority of the circuits around Adelaide, and it'll be an individual driver series. So there will be notification of a registration of interest that will start to pop up in social media over the next couple of days. But very, very excited to see... What are you laughing at?
I wish Cashy was here to say how it ended last time me and Leigh raced each other in hire karts in individual competition.
Well, so the pic that we put up at the beginning was a bit of a teaser for what may have happened.
Nah, Leigh was parked on top of the tyre barriers while leading by about 3/4 of a lap at the Karting Legends event.
Someone got jealous.
God, yes.
Someone got turfed lap 1 out of the lead.
On a serious note, we will. So registrations of interest will come out, and you can email the club at adelaide@sfcadelaide.com, and that'll actually mean that we'll put you into a bit of a mailing list, and then details of the series will come out early next year. So this will go out to all of the hire kart centres around Adelaide. You don't have to be an out-and-out pro to race. It's going to be fun, and hopefully the more numbers, the better. And we can maybe have a couple of groups going and have a bit of a light and a heavy karting champion as well. So very excited about that. What else is there?
And you don't necessarily have to be a member of SFC Adelaide to compete in this as well.
No, not at all. Not at all. So the Ferrari Club will host it, but you don't have to be a member to be a part of it. So, but yes, keep an eye out on all social media platforms in the coming days as that information has been released. So you had your endurance race at Pro Karts on Thursday
night. Yeah, we had an enduro. It was well attended. We had 19 teams end up rocking up, and none of them was single drivers. So we had to put a can on that. Otherwise, we would have been turning people away. Good mix of skill levels, which made things very interesting. It came down to the second to last lap again before a winner was decided. And unfortunately, the team that were leading most of the race got caught up in an incident with a lap driver, which ended their chances, but they still recovered for second. And a team that we had to give a penalty to, a 1-lap penalty to, ended up making up their whole lap and coming back to win the race. So it just goes to show that, with a race like that, you just got to stay in it and don't get disheartened by a penalty, because you can come back and still take the just chockies at the end of the day.
It was 200 laps, was it?
That was 200 laps, that one. It was a bit of a special edition that we saved up for December, the Christmas one. We lost 50 laps in our first one because it absolutely bucketed down with rain, like torrential downpour. We needed to put the rudders on the go-karts to get them to drive anything. But, so we thought we'd give everyone the teams that had supported it and done every round so far, we'd give them their 50 laps back, and all the other teams that came got an extra 50 laps for nothing. And so hopefully we'll see what sort of momentum that generates into January to see if we can keep that number happening.
And Dickie Nee to my left over here. The hat and the long hair, man, is just their giveaway. Like, that's what it reminded me of when I saw the 500 the other
Very,
day.
very old nickname of mine, that one.
We should have made him sit on the floor.
Yeah.
We should have made him sit on the floor, and we could have
Pop the
taken
head up.
photos from behind of the window here, and it would have looked like Dickie Nee.
Tell us about
Dad called me Dodgy Knee for a few years.
Now, please tell me about your participation on the dirt sprint on the Friday night.
So, Adelaide Dirt Kart Club roll out these Friday nights, call them Fast Fridays. It's 2 heats and a final, and it's bloody awesome. That was close. It's what I have. I had a 8 for the first heat and a 9 for the second, and we had an issue last meeting that I thought was a flex, and it turns out it was an electrical problem. Someone left the CDI box loose off the engine mount at some point. Definitely me. But we fixed that for the final, and I started like 18th or something like that, and wheeled it up midway through to, I think, lap 2. I was like 5th or 6th, but we went back a lap for a red flag, which is pretty normal.
Yep.
And just couldn't get that up there from then. Indian file restart, you're a fair way back, and just didn't have the pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the numbers like for the Friday night?
The senior classes were packed. There was 20 lights, KT lights, 18 mediums. There wasn't that many heavies. 125s were both double digits. So Cashman ran 3rd out of 17 or 18.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Someone knows how to prepare a go-kart and didn't have any issues. That's funny.
Phil was working on mine as well, so. It was quite funny to watch him bitumen it into the corner. He was chasing a bit of a understeer issue with it all night, so it looked pretty spectacular, him braking ridiculously early and then the kart folding in half mid-corner.
Yep. What was the track like? 'Cause it was pretty sunny and dry the last part of that week.
The first heat, it was that heavy. I copped a bit of mud down the front straight that knocked all the mud off top of my helmet, so that was an experience. Sort of blinked a few times. Second heat was dry, and then third heat we were black, so...
Yep. How often did Papa Cash get the WD-40 out and the pressure hose cleaning go-karts in between heats?
Standard.
Standard? Did yours get a wash-up as well?
Nah, he started washing. We picked up the oil cart off a tow bar that I'm possibly running in RKA next year.
Yep.
And he started cleaning that mid-meeting because, Philly Cash.
Oh, dear. Well, we're off to a flying start. I think we will be off to our first break, and then when we come back, we will review the 5th round of the Festival State Cup at Mount Gambier, where His Royalness behind the deck over here will explain his utter domination of the event because you are the king of speed or whatever you called yourself. I am speed.
I am speed, yes.
I am speed, yes.
Is that what I called myself? I don't remember that.
I have video evidence. I'm happy to share it.
Oh, was that when we were sitting at Hungry Jack's?
No. That was actually when you got out of the car with a can of petrol and a coffee.
Oh, yes.
Right, complaining because of the fact that you had not enough sleep the night before.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's standard.
yes. All right, so we're off to a break, and then when we come back, Festival State Cup and karting.
Vi aspetto su Radio Italia 1 ogni martedì dalle 12 alle 14:30. Cultura e tradizione napoletana con la vostra Luciana. Radio, amore e fantasia.
Possano queste feste dare a tutti una nuova speranza di pace e salute e tanti sogni da inseguire.
Tanti auguri di buon Natale e un felice anno nuovo.
Da Katie, Vincenzo e Pina, a tutti gli ascoltatori di Radio Italia 1, ai conduttori dei programmi, al presidente e al comitato.
Buone feste!
Radio Italia 1.
You're listening to Negative Camber, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide and brought to you by True Steel Frames, the local frame manufacturer. We've got Biscuits Mura, as we properly pronounce your surname, on the decks next to me, and the man controlling the panel, Lethal Leigh Harrison. And lethal he was at round 5 of the Festival State Cup held at the Mount Gambier Speedway.
Glenburnie Raceway?
Glenburnie Raceway,
Yeah.
Speedway, Raceway.
Borderline Speedway.
Borderline Speedway, just across the road.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I was there or thereabouts. Now, I wasn't there, so I can fire off the results, but you two knuckleheads had the weekend together, so let's have it out. What were your findings? How did you go? What did you like? What did you dislike?
Big dislike of the tarp down in the tent.
Yeah, the tarp. The tarp was not a good friend of ours when the rain came, that was for sure, standing in a couple of inches of water at some points. But
no.
we were going to get wet anyway, so why not do it in the tarp?
Not a fan of changing tyres. That was repetitive.
Yeah. Not a fan of changing weather conditions and Mount Gambier just being Mount Gambier and keeping us guessing all weekend.
I heard you weren't a fan of the man on the ground videos either.
Oh, look, he does what he does. I'm happy to provide some laughs for everybody if we have to.
Oh, you entertainment. You know how many likes you've been getting on Instagram because of your I am speed line, getting a petrol can? I'll get it all the time on the page.
I had to psych myself up some way. There was not enough sleep had that weekend. Between the shenanigans of Thursday night when we got there and Cody forgetting to alert the hotel that we were staying in that his girlfriend or his fiancée had decided to come. So I slept on a couple of lounge cushions and my pillow on the floor, wrapped in a little rug, to old mate here sitting next to me deciding to eat a chicken parmigiana for dinner and then get an absolutely...
You forgot the hotel.
Oh, the hotel, yeah. We leave the track Friday and then we rock up at the hotel that old mate here's booked and they're shut. They've got no gas, didn't let us know. So, and because the speedway is supposed to be on, there's not a heaven's hope in hell of getting a spare room for the night.
Yeah.
But luckily the speedway had been cancelled, so we...
Wang Chung put us up in between the stewards. So
so we went to the red carpet.
In between all the stewards.
Wang Chung.
Who's Wang Chung?
Me. Wang Chung, me.
You?
Yeah, Wang Chung. That's just another name. You got old mate Wang Chung. It's just another one. Now this is I don't know, I was going to save this for Grind My Gears, but we can probably retouch on it again in Grind My Gears. But okay. I'm going to have it out with the hotel because the place we stayed at was called the Red Carpet Motel.
And you didn't get the red carpet?
There was no red carpet at all. Got into the room and the carpet was like brown or something. And I was like, nah, this will be all right. Like red carpet, that's pretty fancy. We should be okay.
Yep.
No red carpet. So I was most unimpressed. And then we went out for dinner and old mate over here decides to get food poisoning. So he's up chucking his guts up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So not only have I slept
didn't drink enough to insulate the stomach from the bad food, you see.
Got to Mount Gambier at 1:30 and was at the track at 6:30 on Friday. Old mate here throwing his guts up from 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. Like just absolute shocker of a weekend. But it's all good.
Oh, we're lucky they didn't change the name to Palmy instead of Biscuits still stands.
He didn't chuck up.
Did go P2 third session on track though.
Yeah, but you spoilt it with outside suicide at the final.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's true.
It's only because I drove the go-kart and told him that it was all good. That's what inspired him to actually get out of bed. I reckon if I told him his go-kart was a bucket still, he would have stayed in bed. He would never come to the track. But he got real.
I've power walked my ass.
He got
healthy.
He got healthy quick after I told him, dude, the go-kart's fast.
Tell me about this monstrosity of a hot dog pigmentation thing that you had on Friday night that was video.
El Hoagie.
Yeah, El Hoagie. What was all that about?
That was a pretty nice bit of kit there. Smoked brisket, pulled pork hoagie. After my stint in America, I'm pretty familiar with the hoagie and thought that'd be pretty good. And it just came as a shock as to how big it was, and there was no...
That usually happens.
Yeah, well, when I'm involved.
We're going down that path again.
Down, Jay,
and then there was no user manual on how to eat this thing, so we had to ask questions and get answers, and unfortunately none were forthcoming, and we had to write the user manual for them, so that happened.
From a man that's eating big... Anyway, big hoagies. You've given him the instruction manual how to actually survive on a hoagie.
Yep.
Wasn't the only instruction manual he handed out that weekend.
No.
Yes. But clearly, 16 seconds in the final instruction manual?
No, 14.
Oh, 14,
yeah.
Give or take. So, on to the more serious stuff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, tricky conditions. Mm-hmm. Did you have to do much work on the Sprint Master, or was it one of those... No, nothing at all? No. Tyre pressures and that's it?
Tyre pressures... For the slicks, obviously we made the wrong call in qualifying and went on the wets, and the track was still dry enough for dries. And then heat 1 and 2 were slicks. Heat 3 was slicks, and then heat 4 was wets. And it was that it almost cleaned up enough again to the point where I took the slicks, down with me to the grid for the final, in case I did need to change them. But yeah, all it was really was put the fronts out as wide as they would go on the old hot dogs, and then just bring the back in as far as it would go. And that I bolted a couple of teeth on, and that was about it. But not too much.
And you dug into your little suitcase of centre and just rip out the Rainmeister drive.
Because he's 95 foot tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look, I grew up racing on slicks in the wet, in that primetime heyday sort of stuff when wets weren't a thing. So I feel like it's cheating when I get to bolt wets on, especially when wets are that sticky like the Vegas. They're
a cracking tyre.
Yeah, they're too easy to drive on though. Like, we need to be on. Even the Vega that we race on in the dry is too grippy for 4-stroke. That class is a SL1 class all day, every day, and then a KT6W.
Old school SL1s too, a year, 2 years out of them.
Yeah. But so it was almost like, I didn't really find it too unnerving to go out there in the wet and put on a bit of a show.
And what about you, Yoda? What did you end up doing?
What do we do? Changed tyres on the grid just before I got in it for qualifying. Jag second. Discovered the dirt doesn't make you any better in the wet. Just makes you way more comfortable with the kart backwards. Got to the lead. First 2 heats from second. Just a little bit of cheekiness towards the apex of turn 1 a couple of times. Didn't realise I was 3 wide the first time.
Full sense around the outside.
As Bicky does.
Yeah.
Third heat, we were wet, and I lost the Rainmeister second lap and had no grip for half a lap, so just pulled in rather than putting the thing off into the tyre barriers, which was a very real possibility. Tried going from 4th to the lead at the start of the final, and we went airborne and backwards and got on the hunt for a bit, got tired for a bit, got back on the hunt, and that was how the weekend went.
That was it. Did you actually place?
I think dead last.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think you were dead last.
Oh, no, I think I passed young Nicola, I think, towards the end.
Yeah. Olivia,
that's one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you're with me.
Well, I'll run through the places, speaking of, as I'll go through all the classes. So we'll start with Cadet 9, and we had Bo Chambers first and Lawson Effingham in second. Cadet 12 was Dominic Mercury, followed by Levi Ross and Scarlett Pittham for third.
Huge steer that was too, by the way.
From whom?
Scarlett.
Dom.
Oh, and Scarlett. Scarlett came back from down the back somewhere.
Yeah. What was the huge steer about Dom? He came back from the rear?
Heat 3 in the wet.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely brained him.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Get it up on my laps, he would have,
I've got my laps up for another reason. I'll show you that. Tell you that in a sec. KA3 Junior, Leo Ianella, Mitch Burgermeister and Harry Muller. 4SS Supermax was James Place, followed by Steve Skinner and then Steve Cunningham. In the medium class, the Dark Lord, Leigh Harrison, Mr. Loner over there in the grid, followed by Callum Belmonte and Mark Sanford. In the KA3 Senior Light class, we had Corey Herbertson, followed by Nicky Watson and Lee's boss, Katie Harrison. Just doing a little bit of work there for Pro Karts. Tag 125 Restricted Light, Josh Holmes, followed by Ben Press and then Shane Moreland. KA4 Junior was Levi Jones, followed by Xavier Kane and Deegan Arnold. 4SS Junior was Lucan Palambaro and Alessia Clubro. Tag Restricted Medium was Josh Fielding, followed by Jack Ryan and third Nathan Rosenzweig. 4SS Light was Wes Bowden, Jackson King and Anthony Ormsby, and the 4-stroke heavy class was Daniel Bowden, followed by Ben Mooney and then Andrew Gunn in third. Tag 125 Light was Parker Scott, Ryan Morgan and Trent Ashman. Now, before I go through today's results that was held at Monarto, which was the final heat race of the Karting SA season, you've raced all 5 tracks. Where do you rate Mount Gambier? What's your top?
Let's out of those 5? The 5?
The domestic tracks that we race on, where do you rank the top 5 for you?
Bolivar, Mount Gambier, Whyalla, Barossa, Monarto.
Gambier, Cashy's going to kill me for this. Whyalla, Bolivar, Barossa, 50 feet of crap, Monarto.
Why is Cashy going to kill you about Whyalla?
Because he's not a fan.
He's not a fan of Whyalla?
It's too small. Too small.
Okay.
He likes big tracks.
So he prefers Barossa over Whyalla?
No one likes new Barossa.
No. Really?
Barossa.
Yep. Yeah, but Old Barossa is an amazing circuit. Was an amazing
Off
circuit.
camber, couldn't see shit at night. Oh, sorry.
Hey, produce a dump button, man. Like,
It
God.
caught me off guard and I wasn't ready.
Oh, God. Anyway, sorry, John Ellis. I apologise on these other two monkeys' behalf. I don't mind the current Barossa because I never drove on the old Barossa. So there you go. Now, today's results at Monarto. They did something quite unique, and that was actually race all fours or three?
4 tracks in 4 rounds.
In 4 rounds, which is really unique and pretty cool.
DC, B and A.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through the Tag 125 Open performance. So we had Jarrett Roberts first, followed by Brandon Stillwell. In Tag 125 Light, we had Jacob Dowson, followed by Matthew Neitz. And in Tag 125 Masters, Mr. Simon Major, who I hear is also a new recruit for Team Sprint Master.
I think that was his debut in the Sprint Master today.
Debut in the Sprint Master. Wow, there you go. John Ellis second and Warren Neitz in third. In the Cadets, Cadet 12 we had Dominic McCurry, followed by Michael Lampassi. Cadet 4SS was Levi Ross, and then Cadet 9 was Atherin Smith. In 4-stroke Senior Heavy, Daniel Bowden first, followed by James Place in second. He's gone to the clubbies. Dave Harrison in third. And then in the lights, we had Jackson King first, Blake Turner second, and Wes Bowden in third. KA4 Junior, Giuseppe Imbrogno first, followed by Samuel Spiteri and Cash Borlays. There's a word caches everywhere today, man. What's going on? 4SS Junior was Luca Palambaro first, Edward McEwen second, and Lee's son Lewis Harrison in third. KA3 Junior was Luca Palambaro first, Darcy Haynes second, and William Smith in third. We have had that joke ongoing all year, so don't be too surprised, Biscuits. Tag Restricted Heavy was Joel Cossack in first, and then Tag Restricted Light, Josh Holmes, followed by Sean Emery. In Restricted Medium was Nathan Rosenzweig, followed by Jordan Cumberford, and Peter Ferraro in third. In 4-stroke Senior Medium, we had Nicholas Dunn first, followed by Mark Paneris in second, and Samuel Miertinen in third. And then in the Supermax Heavy was Steve Skinner first, followed by Andy Ritter in second place. And that rounds out all the classes that participated in today's event at the multi-track at Monarto. So congratulations to all the podium place getters for that meet.
Which one's the short little, half oval track they got there?
B
class.
No, the real short one. The one that's full roll around.
A, B, C, or D, one of them.
I'm guessing
Maybe
it'd be
maybe
D, because it'd be the litless.
It's B that's like an upside-down T-shape.
No, not that one. So you go down the front straight around, back to the bottom of the hill, then back through.
It might be the C track.
Round to the off camber.
I think it's C track.
C track, yeah. C track is where you go down, and a lot of the Monarto guys are going to shoot me if I get this wrong, but it's down the front straight, then you've got the left-hander, then it goes straight across, followed by a right-hander.
No. So I'm talking
left
on
again straight away. So if you go, it goes up the roll around, turns left again straight away, and you join the right hand off camber before coming up to the sweeper again.
Okay.
Anyway,
there you go.
That is the most fun track they have there.
Yep.
We got to run that before the proper enduro. Way back when it was all karts combined and everything like that. And yeah, you could go around the outside of X30s in a KT at the end of the straight. That was pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pinned in the KT. The X30s had to get out of it so you could get them. Yeah. If you had the cojones.
Yeah, I actually don't mind. I haven't driven all the track formats, but out of the two, I actually don't mind the B track, where you go up and then you go down and then it's almost flat out for pretty much the whole lap in the four-banger.
Nah, the right kink, the C track where you launch over the curb. I've got a few good photos of us.
I like the full track in reverse. That's fine with me.
I like the full track in reverse because I ran and dominated everyone. So, of course, winners are grinners. But we're off to a break, and then when we come back, we will discuss Formula One.
You're listening to Negative Camber, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting the Scuderia Ferrari Club of Adelaide and proudly sponsored by True Steel Frames. Hope you're enjoying our season finale so far. Can I just say you are doing a cracking job behind the mic? I think you've just found your permanent position over there.
Oh, my goodness. Look, I'm still crapping my pants over here, but look, we're a half an hour in. I think I've done all the buttons that I need to know, and we should be okay from here.
I just want to give a special shout out to our man in the seat in the background there, Ron from Podcast City, who's been a massive fan of the show. He's been your mentor at the moment.
He is, yeah. He's doing an amazing job of teaching me.
He's sort of the Yoda to Mark's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he is Yoda, and he gave me a crash course this about 10 minutes before we came on air, and that was all I needed to know. So that was good. He didn't go deep diving into all of the intricacies of this system here. Just told me all the stuff that I need to know to get the job done.
That's right.
How I like to be taught.
That's
things.
right. He's given us enough of a gap that if you do screw up live on air, that we can shoot you down with all.
Good.
You know what the best thing is? I get to look into your eyes.
Oh. All right.
All right.
All right, mate.
I'm going to get my creep game on, all right?
This is why I've come over this side of the desk. It was getting a little bit too, how you going over there next to you, and as Matt moves away from you further.
That's all right. I only have to look at him too. Okay.
It's those cycling thighs I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Hey,
that'd crush your head. They would crush a head.
These bangers. Hey, look at these bangers, mate. These big
old watermelon snappers.
All right. Anyway.
That could be his intro for next season, I reckon. We're going to have the man who can snap a watermelon between his thighs. Jamie.
Maybe he can get on to Ross Chastain to work out some sort of deal there.
Yes, I love it.
Jamie Lemura don't give a tour.
Yep.
That could be. Well, I wouldn't sell anything. Wouldn't be able to give a concert. No one would buy the tickets.
Well, you'd be providing watermelon platters for everyone, because we would just put a platter underneath you. You'd squash the watermelon between your thighs, and there'd be free watermelon for everybody. It'd be like I'd
be the juicer over at Phuket. I'd give watermelon cocktails to everyone.
Exactly. Live studio audience, and they get snacks.
Yeah, we've gone way off track here. Formula One in the Yas Marina circuit, Leigh, at Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. A place that you know very, very well, because you spent some time there, I think?
Yeah, I did a couple of race meetings there. I did the 2019 Formula One and the 2020 version of the Golf 12 Hour, which is on right now, I believe, as well.
Yep. Before we get into the highlights of that race being the season finale, what are your thoughts of the track? What's the facility like? How does it compare to some of the other tracks?
The one they showed on the live stream? Or
Which one do you want? Do you want the one that Sky Sports showed on their live video footage, or the new one?
Well, actually, funnily enough, they showed live footage of it on the actual day of the race.
Yeah,
which was quite funny. So clearly, Sky Sports listened to us, or news filtered through of you whinging like a little.
That's just my fact checking brain there that's caught that one out. But no, look, the question that you asked and the answer is the facilities are absolutely phenomenal, as you would expect in a country like that's gone out to make sure that they impress the world. It's been purpose built for Formula One. There is a secondary pit lane which they use for the support categories while that racing is on, and for all of their drive schools and all that sort of stuff. There's another pit lane as well. So the Formula One paddock area is really well done. With each team has its own hospitality suites out the back, and it's all quite private. But yeah, it's just you go there and you're saying wow for the first probably 10 hours that you're walking around, and then you go and find another room and you're like wow again, and it just is an absolutely phenomenal facility.
The kart track's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the kart track, the race kart track is part of the track, but even the rental kart part is everything looks
the blue line next to the track and everything's same.
Wow, really?
And they don't if a barrier gets slightly dented, it's out and a new one gets put in. It's just that's crazy.
I didn't even know they had a kart track there.
They ran the world titles there.
No, you're thinking of Bahrain. Yeah, so they run a Rotax series there. And it's on 1, 2. If you go over the hill of turn 3, you can almost, if you look closely enough on the video footage, you can see the tram lines of the go-kart track on that little straight before the new hairpin where Max won the title last year, so deservedly. So yeah, that's sort of where the go-kart track goes, and then as they go along the back straight, there's like a little chicane thing that they do in the middle there.
You got any tissues for Jamie?
Oh God,
they're coming.
You know what? Yeah. Anyway, highlights for this race as Leigh tries not to screw this up. It's highlights of the final race of this year's season where Max used a fraudulent car to win his title and claim his record 15th win of the season, setting a new benchmark, but it was highlighted most importantly by being Sebastian Vettel's final Grand Prix.
The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, it's lights out and away we go, and I think Sergio Perez got a slightly better getaway. He's coming at Max Verstappen now. Behind him, they're all squabbling with Charles Leclerc in third place. Max Verstappen leads then from Sergio Perez, then comes Charles Leclerc, and then comes Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz, and George Russell seems to have lost a place to Lando Norris right at the start. They'll head now down towards the hairpin. The two Red Bulls getting away rather nicely. Charles Leclerc goes down the inside on Sergio Perez. Perez has to slam the door shut.
And that will compromise Leclerc on the exit. That's why he's suddenly under attack instead of being the attacker. But that Ferrari I showed you on the grid, it's got slim rear wing. It's pretty handy in a straight line.
Hamilton can't quite get near him because down the inside now comes Carlos Sainz on Lewis Hamilton. Sainz just squeezes Hamilton, who goes over the rumble strip and launches into the air. Sainz goes past, Leclerc goes past. Hamilton keeps the place, but like last year, he went off the track at that chicane.
And did he do any damage to the underneath of the car? So Lewis is having a look at the inside of one Ferrari and then is joined. A little love tap there as it went past, but the door was open and he drove the Ferrari through it.
Okay, Lewis, we've been asked to give the position back to Sainz.
And there it goes. Carlos Sainz then ahead of Lewis Hamilton, back up into fourth place. With an extra 15 kilometres an hour advantage, Hamilton is getting closer and closer, and they're going wheel to wheel into that chicane, and Sainz just ahead under braking. Hamilton then getting a very good exit out of that chicane. Officially the steward saying no further action, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So they're satisfied, everything has been done, and now Hamilton has got a car length ahead of Carlos Sainz, and a lap later he is back ahead of the Ferrari, and this time he shouldn't be told to give it back. And once again, Carlos Sainz has that DRS, that 15 kilometre an hour top speed advantage, and Sainz under braking now thinks about trying to get the inside line for the second part of that chicane.
And Sainz, of course, will get more DRS and a better exit through the corner as Lewis had to defend. So you've got to expect the Ferrari to be in a great position here to overtake as they approach to turn 9, and he can sweep from the outside in and takes the place back again. That's now going to leave Lewis very vulnerable to his teammate.
And Sebastian Vettel into that same corner makes the move on Esteban Ocon and up into 8th place. Ocon is trying to come back at Vettel, as you can see, and says, thank you very much, I quite liked 8th place, I'll keep on to it for a little bit more. But this is a super little tussle between Esteban Ocon and Sebastian Vettel. Russell picking up a slipstream and with DRS2 pulls out from the rear of his teammates Mercedes. George Russell powers his way past and up into 5th place. This is what happened with George Russell. I said he was stationary for 5.2 seconds. He was being held for quite a long time whilst they worked on the rear.
George, we have a 5-second penalty for unsafe release.
Alonso is a pretty frustrated man because this is ruining his strategy. Valtteri Bottas recovering from a terrible start and last. There you go, there's the overtake for you.
Yes, he's got 2 into 1.
And he needed to do that because it was ruining his strategy after his stop.
Fernando Alonso pitting and...
second pit stop.
Retiring.
Have to retire the car.
Oh dear. Well, Fernando Alonso, who has not had the best of luck with mechanical reliability this season, finishes off his stint with the Enstone team and finishes it off by being pushed into the garage as our first retirement this evening. Meanwhile, here comes Sebastian Vettel. Haven't said that for a while. And there he goes into the corner, the heads of Pierre Gasly.
Lovely.
We've had a tangle. Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi have had just a little tangle. We can actually have a look at what happened down at the hairpin. Mick Schumacher thought he saw a gap there and just tags the rear of Latifi's Williams. 5-second time penalty for Mick Schumacher for causing a collision. Ocon there ahead of Ricciardo. Zhou Guanyu weaving a bit on the straight. Vettel's got that one covered though, and he's definitely got the pace to get past the Alfa Romeo. There you see the Perez pace that he's got, and he does get level with Lewis Hamilton. Little lock-up, though, going into that chicane, and how much is that going to compromise him? Coming out of the chicane, Hamilton seems to get a much better exit, and he's now got DRS, a little bit of a slipstream as well, to try and get that place back. Perez thought he got the overtake done, but that one lock-up, Martin, seems to accost him, and Hamilton manages to keep hold of that 3rd place. Down the inside goes Sergio Perez. And we can see he's actually got a car length ahead as they emerge out of turn 9. You see, so that's good learning from Sergio Perez. And this is the green of Lance Stroll, catching Sebastian Vettel. Now, you hold your breath a little bit when these two get together, but that was Vettel making way for his teammate to get past.
I've lost shifts. Shifts aren't working properly.
Copy. Okay, may have a hydraulic problem, so may go passive. Just be cautious.
And it did go passive. As you can see, Carlos Sainz goes ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who was absolutely powerless to try and defend. And he's still stuck in 7th gear at the moment and trying to find a remedy. But this is a hydraulic issue. For his 15th victory in his 2nd championship winning season, Max Verstappen wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. 15 wins in a season. That is the new benchmark for the rest to challenge. Charles Leclerc comes home to take 2nd place ahead of Sergio Perez. Ferrari get that runners-up spot in both Constructors and Drivers' Championships. Sebastian Vettel scores 10th in his final race.
What an amazing season we've had. Unbelievable.
Very, very good job, Max. Well done.
What did he say? Remember these times. They might not last forever. Sebastian, thank you. The memories definitely will.
And now it's us who has to remember these days.
Thanks, Seb. You've been a true champion for Red Bull, for Formula One, and for yourself too. That's it. Formula One is over in 2022. Enjoy your winter. You've got 105 days to go until we race in Bahrain and we start all over again.
Yes, top 10 results before we head off to a break. Max Verstappen first, Charles Leclerc second, Sergio Perez third, Carlos Sainz fourth, George Russell fifth, Lando Norris in sixth, Esteban Ocon in seventh, Lance Stroll in eighth, Daniel Ricciardo in ninth, and Sebastian Vettel in 10th. And we have to endure 100 days of that Sook being a one-time world champion, another time given to him as a title. And you can both put your heads in your hands because it is the truth.
Just remember who holds the keys to the dump button over here, my friend.
I can't wait for Jamie's jokes to be muted later.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You finally worked out the reason why.
Greatest side of life ever.
Whoops, which mic are you on again, sorry?
Take us off to a break, Errol Flynn. Let's go.
2 ore con Antonio Dottore, programma di attualità, approfondimento, interviste di politica, economia, scienze, arte, ogni venerdì dalle 15 alle 17.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and guess what? I'm back. Fridays from 5 o'clock, Jeff Sports Show, exclusively on Radio Italia 187.6. I'll be joined by former Socceroo Charlie Villani to talk all things sport, soccer, AFL, SAMFL, and plenty more. That's Jeff Sports Show every Friday from 5 in the afternoon on Radio Italia 187.6 FM.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports Show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide. Lee's trying to get the music to be over me. Producer's mistakes. Your first mistake for the night, mate.
You jumped in too early. You should know how long our outro goes for. You didn't wait for my cue to point my finger gun at you and tell you to go.
I know what I'm going to do when I get a cue. I'm going to jam it.
You're trying to overrun the producer, and that never ends up going well.
Dear, oh dear. I must be respectful of that dump button that you have at the moment.
Respect my authority.
Exactly.
All right. So, Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi season final, far from the anticlimactic edition of the race that we had last year. Have you guys ever actually seen a farewelling of if there's such a word, a farewell of a driver like what they did with Seb Vettel?
No, not that I can remember.
In F1 or in race?
Yeah, just in...
Well, I don't know about racing, but certainly F1.
No,
definitely in F1, never before.
Never before in F1.
No. And I mean, you and I both love Seb.
Yeah.
You and I being Cookies and myself. And it was actually, you know what? If you go back probably to the Red Bull days, I probably would have suggested that he wouldn't have gotten a farewell like that. But then when you actually hear the drivers open up, he was always like that behind the scenes in terms of him being the person that you see now.
The humanitarian Seb.
Yeah. But
Seb.
where would you rank him as in the pantheon of greats, considering he's won 4 world titles and 50-odd Grand Prix?
He's top 10.
He's in the top 10 for sure.
He's not in the top 5.
Yeah, probably not in the top 5. Somewhere in that, maybe 7th or 8th. And even then, like, I'm going to have to stretch to find the other
Who's
6.
your top 3?
Oh, you'd have to go with, like, Fangio, probably Ascari, and then... look, I'm a Mansell fan, so you got to go with Mansell as a great in there.
No Jimmy Clark?
Holy
cow.
That's rough.
Nah, he'd be 4th.
Nah,
So
definitely Jimmy, Fangio, Ayrton in that order.
Okay.
I respect your opinion.
Now you're starting to...
It's got to be Jimmy. Everyone says Jimmy.
I respect
that
it.
saw him.
I'm not everyone, am I? I respect your opinion, but it doesn't mean that mine's wrong and yours is right.
Are you just saying Mansell because you can't grow a moustache like his?
And because I'm staring,
envy.
I'm like literally staring at him right now over the counter.
That is a very impressive moustache, I've got to say.
No, like Mansell was probably the first person that I properly followed in racing cars. Like, I reckon I was like, that was the first book that I properly read that wasn't like administered to me through school.
That Red 5 Haviline IndyCar was the Ducks nuts.
That's why I put him
with
up
the
there.
visor sticker down past the pair of posts.
There would be probably maybe a very, very small handful of drivers that a crowd would just light up. When Nigel was on and he was in the zone, right, and he was Il Leone, right, he was what a driver.
Yeah.
Like, you know, would I have him in my top 3? No. But such a hard call, but yeah, definitely somewhere like what Biscuits had said in that era. For me, Ayrton first, and then the rest would follow after that. So yeah, but Seb Vettel, definitely top 10.
Yeah.
Definitely top 10.
He's done so much work for the sport behind the scenes as well, like it's running that Grand Prix Drivers Association and doing all the stuff with the FIA that he did.
Seb's the one that brought it back, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And the best comeback in terms of hair I've ever seen. That was epic.
Yeah.
He's up there with Warney, that's for sure.
Well, him and Warney went to the same hairdresser, I reckon.
Yeah.
With a special serum.
Yeah. Who could forget when he came out of Ferrari and had that first photo of him sitting in the Aston?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what happened
Speaking
to
of hair, Valtteri's got everyone topped at the minute.
He does, doesn't he? Did you see the video with Valtteri coming out with the
Military
Bottas?
Yeah.
He's in the state right now to any of our loyal listeners, so keep an eye out and let the page
hopefully
Negative Camber
he's
know.
Kimi Raikkoning his way through the Coonawarra right now.
Fingers crossed. He looked like he was going through quite the wine flight this afternoon. So, look, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, let's see if we can send some messages out. And if any fans spot him, let us know so we can try and get a candid with the bloke.
Well, if you actually go to the local cycling at Victoria Park on Tuesday and Thursday nights, over the summer break, because Tiffany, his partner, trains for the Tour Down Under and also for the national road races that will happen in Ballarat in January. There's in the past, he's actually raced at the local criterium races here in Adelaide.
He would, yeah.
And it's very subtle. He's always wearing like a really plain blue kit, but I've seen photos of him racing against some of the local lads out there. Whether they're nice enough to spread the word about our show or not and want to interview us is probably different kettle of fish, but yeah.
I drive home from it every night on my way home from work, so if I see some cyclists, I'll just pull in and have a stalk.
I reckon you should, but you can't miss a Canyon bike like that.
No.
And with a mow like that too, and the little sort of tufts at the back.
Yeah. Well, there used to be that website, Has Romain crashed today? Or no, was it Romain or Pasta? Has Pasta crashed today?
Has Maldonado crashed today?
Yes. .com. So maybe we could put up how many, latest sighting of Bottas website.
Yeah, I reckon that'll probably start to get some traction too, I think.
We digress.
Yeah. Max's, which is quite easy to do on the show at the moment. Max with his 15th win of the season, setting a new benchmark, which eclipsed, was it 14, 13? I think it was.
13?
13.
Yeah, I think he equaled it at 13, and then he set 2 more.
Yeah. where, you know what, given the superiority of that car and the fact that he was the clear number one, 15 race wins is, I'd almost say you'd expect it to a degree. Or
Not when they lost the first 3 races of the season. To come back, when you look at it, like they had a pile of absolute pus for the first 3 races this season. So he won 15 out of 19 races. Let's remember that.
Yeah, and 4 of them were probably gifted to him as well.
Yeah, exactly. From Ferraris stepping on their own ends.
I'm pretty sure it's like the second best winning percentage since Ascari out of like
only
5 races.
Second to Ascari, it's like 75%.
No, I think it's 4. There's only been 4 seasons that have won more. If he had won Brazil and then Abu Dhabi, then it would have been second only to Ascari's in terms of winning percentage. But there's another... I was reading today, there is only 4 seasons that have been better than his winning percentage from this season.
Makes you wonder.
I mean, if you're in a Ferrari, it's still the same sort of level of reliability and strategy as back then. But to do that in 15 races is pretty...
Yeah, you're making my milk curdle with my prancing red. Don't, please. It's been a very sensitive year for me.
Can you spell strategy? Do you know how after the last couple of years?
I do, but I don't know whether my mates in Maranello do. You know what, though? 15 races, did it feel like a dominant 15 races? Like, you know,
no.
And when I say that, it's if you compare Mansell 92, right, he'd had the championship won by round 10. If you compare Schumacher to 2004, he had the championship won by the middle of the season. Maybe 2014 with when Mercedes got their act together before anyone else in the hybrid era, and they won just about every race, I think it was. No, they won most Red
races,
Bull won a couple. And then you've got this season, where it didn't feel like 15 race wins. You knew that he won a lot.
Yeah.
And it was really from mid-season onwards where it was like, oh...
Verstappen won race 2, by the way, from the Crook one.
Pardon again, sorry?
Max won race 2 this year, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, fact checker. Thanks for letting us know.
Okay, so.
It didn't seem like 15 round wins. He was quite dominant after Spa, that's for sure, when they came back from the summer break. But you knew that up until then it was kind of the only reason that he'd won so many races was that that Ferrari had handed them to him. But then, like we said, they came out swinging after the summer break and really went on that roll there.
Yeah, absolutely. You still definitely some tension there still up until with Checo and Max. And there was no way Max was going to help Checo
get second in the
championship. No way at all. So it does... And there was some stuff that happened straight after the race in terms of announcements. So we'll run through them. So Alpine secure 4th in the constructors' standings. Gasly's gone over. Fernando, as Fernando does, gets the archery kit out and starts firing bow and arrows into Esteban Ocon. And so Ocon's walked away, the wounded soldier. So there's that.
But Ocon came back and gave his own.
Has Ocon ever had a teammate like him?
No.
In his career? Going back to go-karts?
No. And then Ocon came back and said that he was the one that did all the work and did all of the marketing stuff, and he felt like he was just an overpaid marketer or something like that.
He's not getting paid to drive, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Then the big news, I guess, was there's 2, really. You had Nico Hülkenberg signing for Haas, which spelt the temporary end of Mick Schumacher. Fair or unfair?
I think that's unfair. I don't think Mick... he crashed a fair bit, but I don't think he'd done... I thought he'd done enough to stay in the car. Like, you look at what Haas have got now. They've got 2
K-Mag
drivers.
Smoked him this
year.
He
only doubled the amount of points that he got. He didn't really actually do anything amazing.
Yeah, but did he though, Biscuits? Like at the beginning of the season, okay, it didn't look good for Mick when K-Mag comes out.
How many times were you impressed by Mick this year?
Multiple times when Haas actually gave him the correct strategy.
Take Brazil, for example, in the sprint race.
I'll give you Brazil.
K-Mag went backwards at a great rate of knots, and Mick Schumacher went forwards at a great rate of knots. I don't think Mick did enough to deserve being sacked. He crashed some cars, but... Like, you look at, like I was going to say, you look at Haas now, they've got 2 old drivers. They've got Magnussen and Hülkenberg. That's not very good for their longevity.
No.
those guys, like, well, they've got experience. I don't think they've got enough experience to go and take them from being 8th place finishers to 2nd place finishers.
Haas would have been better off going with the option that Gunther was discussing with our friend in America. I think that would have been Tony Stewart into the Haas would have been
really good. But I think a smarter move for Haas would have been to get Daniel Ricciardo in and keep Mick Schumacher.
Yep.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you believe Daniel when they say that he wasn't really approached by Haas? Did they approach him? I mean, who knows? You know? And that's the other thing leading on to Danny Rick was that he gets he goes for the 3rd driver role with Red Bull. I mean, is that a good career move? Is that a bad career move?
Well, you look at the tension that's building there now with Checo, and I reckon it's a good career move because Max and Daniel have got a good relationship, and if Daniel's going back in there with the knowledge that he is only going to be the 2nd driver and he's there to pick up the pieces where Max puts him down, that might be a good harmonious relationship. But at the moment, Checo wants to try and win a world championship still, and he's not going the right way about it.
Speaking of a harmonious relationship, how's our mate Mr. Cash sending you messages over the phone there? I know he's listening.
He was just reporting in that he'd rather sit on the sidelines than race for Haas as well as DR. Turns out not just Amiga drivers, they've got a few things in common.
You know what? He's a man of his word because he's sitting on the sidelines and should be here on the desk with us.
I don't know. There's a lot more room in the studio than last time.
Ooh.
It doesn't smell like KFC in here as well, which is making me and my hunger levels in my tummy feel much better.
I could do with the Zinger Stacker right now.
That's on the way home.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, Zinger Stanger box, yes. 3-piece feed as well for Shay?
No, she doesn't eat KFC.
Really? Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. We off to a break?
Whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Oh, whenever I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're off to a break.
When you stop waffling, basically.
Hey? Oh,
yeah.
Waffling. God, I'm surrounded by it. When we come back, we're going to review our top 10. This is going to cause some debate. Our top 10 drivers of the year in the Formula 1.
Are we going to do driver reactions? Or?
We can do that after the break. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Go, producer.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide, proudly sponsored by True Steel Frames. Are you happy now that I waited until you wound the music down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
You waited for me to give my finger guns and everything. See, that was a much smoother intro from the break.
Jesus. Anyway, top 10 drivers for the year of F1. So, who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, brace yourselves.
I'll go.
I think we're going to throw headsets at each other now.
So,
go 10 to 1.
10 to 1?
10 to 1.
I was just about to ask 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
All right, so, and I reckon this is the first controversial one straight off the bat.
Oh, here we go.
My 10th driver, Nick de Vries.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
9th,
Yep.
Sebastian Vettel. 8th, Lewis Hamilton. 7th, oh, sorry, there was a typo on my page here. 7th, Charles Leclerc. 6th, Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah.
5th, Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
4th, Fernando Alonso.
Yep.
With bronze, Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Silver, George Russell.
Yep.
And number 1, Supermax, Max Verstappen.
Oh, Verstappen, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting with De Vries. Says a lot about the rest of the drivers that you gave a guy 10th for one race.
But you
it was
have
a
to
very,
take,
very good
you
race.
have to take that one opportunity to prove himself. Like, I almost made him number 1 because he had one opportunity to prove himself, and on that weekend he'd driven 3 different cars, and he still managed to come out and put it on the points and put in the drive that he did to do it.
He started in my top 5 until
he almost crept up the list a little bit there.
When you think of it that way, it was a Herculean effort. Like, it's one of those first races that you look back on in, say, 20 years, and you're like, wow, this guy was like a superstar. You know how you like...
I won't look back. Like, I already know that he's a superstar from
his driving
10
record
years
itself,
ago.
yeah, exactly. But when you look at it then, unless you know his history, you'll see that it's like this guy's been waiting in the wings. He's come out of the clouds and he's whacked the Williams in the top 10 at Monza.
Yeah.
So you had him 10th. What were the other ones again?
Sebastian Vettel in 9th.
Yep.
Lewis Hamilton in 8th.
Yep.
Charles Leclerc 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Harsh.
He made too many unforced errors, so he's lost multiple points on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Started off strong, and that's probably the only reason that he actually even stayed in the top 10 was that he started off strong and was there or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
Valtteri Bottas, absolutely, stormed through the field, and scored way more points than that Alfa Romeo should have.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, again hurt by engine failures and water leaks and whatever else Alpine sabotaged his car with to try and let the Frenchman win. But still fought through that and scored a bucket load of points to help them get fourth in the championship. Lando, look, to be fair, he pantsed Ricciardo, didn't he? And got a podium along the way as well, so he had some good races. And then George, obviously picking up his first win and absolutely trumps and Spewis, making Spewis look like the average driver that we know he is. And then Max, 15 races with wins on the board, and I think he finished almost on the podium every time that he actually finished a race. You can't beat him at number one.
Can we keep it professional, though, Lewis Hamilton? Please? Although, mind you, I did say Verkrappen.
You did.
Yeah, I did, but I only said it once.
That's how it's written down here on my paper. I'm just reading verbatim.
I'm the one with bad eyes, not you. Right. Biscuits. Enough of you. Biscuits.
K-Mag, Seb, NVD, Carlos.
Oh, full names, please.
Nick DeVries.
Yes.
Carlos.
Yep.
Fernando Alonso.
Yep.
George.
Yep.
Checo. Lando. Charles. Max.
Charles and Max.
Yeah.
Wow.
Charles would have been with Max for most of the year if it wasn't for whatever the hell... Whoever sits on the pit wall, I don't actually know.
Not even that.
To be honest.
How many times did he actually bin himself, Charles?
Yeah, but...
In a race, one that glares out was France.
Yeah.
Pure driver error, because he goes into a corner, the Mistral, 20 Ks more than what he did any other lap. So he was pushing. He had other driver errors in practice sessions and stuff. I can't remember other ones in the races, but forgive me, because I've got
How
a 41-year-old
many times have
brain.
you watched this year and you've seen the Ferrari fast and you go, that's not going to stay there?
No, and Mexico, he was in practice and then binned it.
Binned it, yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
You can't put someone that high. I thought you were better than that. This is the last time you're on this show.
That's fair.
Last time I checked, I organised all that. Right. Okay. Brace yourselves. Drum roll.
This is going to be
This
bad.
is not going to be good.
All right.
Jamie's joke's starting out.
Yep.
All right. So I've got equal 10 to Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon.
So hang on. So is it like...
So this is a top 11.
This is a top 11 then, is it?
They're level 10. I can't...
So that's 11.
That's 11.
I couldn't split the two, although my heart went
Did
Vettel.
you go down to race results? I mean, that's the...
Kevin Magnussen 9th, Lando Norris 8th, Lewis Hamilton 7th, Fernando Alonso in 6th, Carlos Sainz, you guys remember him, 5th, Sergio Perez 4th, yes, I remember now that you did too, Charles Leclerc 3rd, Max Verstappen 2nd, George Russell as driver of the year in 1st.
He's found a new favourite.
No, that's the least favourite. Because Leigh likens himself to George. But I actually took into consideration...
Where did that come from?
Who?
Where did me likening myself to George come from?
He's got his Georges confused. He meant Boy George.
Yeah.
Boy George. Especially those skinny tight jeans that he wears at the track. I took into consideration car and the quality of it, performance, consistency, and then driver errors.
Can we get like a YouTube video breaking down the Matrix, Jordan Taylor style, after this, please?
I still haven't actually watched that video.
You got to.
You've missed the most important thing that's happened in years. We've confirmed Kamui's ultimate call.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually surprised you didn't put what's his face in there?
Yuki.
Yuki. You can't do it just because he's Japanese.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't work like that. We kept it professional.
Yeah.
We did it serious.
Unlike you, we professionalised myself.
I was professional.
Narrowed it down to 10 and researched.
It was a split decision.
Yeah, can you read your 10 again? Sorry, your 11.
Right,
can you read your top 11?
Joint 10 was equal 10th was Vettel Ocon, Kevin Magnussen 9th, in particular his early start to the year and then his Brazilian pole. Lando Norris in 8th, right? Even though he pantsed Ricciardo, he underachieved largely due to a car. Lewis Hamilton 7th. Lewis was off for a majority of the year and only redeemed his year in the second half. Fernando Alonso, I've probably been harsh on him on reflection, but I think 6th is fair. Carlos Sainz in 5th. You could argue he had started to get the edge on Leclerc in the second half of the season, but had driver errors and also start line outs and all that sort of stuff. Sergio Perez 4th. Charles Leclerc 3rd. Max Verstappen 2nd. George Russell, driver of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You actually typed that out, looked at it, and went, "That's good."
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
It's an opinion piece.
Yeah.
It's an opinion piece.
Yeah. It's just it has caused debate and discussion, and that's what we've done this for.
Yeah, yeah. Now, mind you, unlucky people with Valtteri Bottas, De Vries, even though I didn't even...
You didn't think about him at all, did you?
No, I didn't factor him in because he only done one race.
Yep.
Right, I went for, whole season. You know, had it been driver, and all rules were off...
Let's not forget, every practice session he was in, he impressed also.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in that case, then I should have put Robert Kubica in there because he drives with one hand.
Well,
and he was actually not last in the Alpha either.
I'm surprised you didn't put Nicholas Latifi in yours.
No. No.
Was he next 12th? Was he 12th?
No.
He was equal 10th.
Actually, you know what, though? Mind you, Alex Albon should have...
I had him in.
He was nearly in mine too.
He was old mate that's top of the timesheets and pits early. And
he got shuffled out when I remembered about Nick De Vries.
Yeah.
Albon was 10th, and then Nick De Vries was like, "You actually did a good job," so I chucked him in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But we just got to remember that between with Latifi and Lewis Hamilton, they've got 7 world titles between them.
I know.
So you've been about the Formula Day count.
Oh, God, I think some of our audience are not going to miss your Lewis Hamilton gags. But anyway.
They'll last until he retires. Which cannot come soon enough.
Which apparently, according to Toto, who I must say, Shay, if you get a chance, there's some Instagram footage of Toto looking very suave. Very suave on the chair. He had the sports jacket on. He had the shirt going. He had the loafers on. Cream-coloured pants. He looked like you at the trophy presentation last year for Karting South Australia.
Right.
I know. Toto looked very sharp. Very sharp. I reckon Miss Thigh should have a look at that if you're in luck on the way home. Driver championship standings. So, I'll run through the top 10 at the end. Verstappen with 454. Leclerc with 308, the Holden. Perez, 305. Russell, 275. Sainz, 246. Lewis, 240. Norris, 122. Ocon, 92. Alonso, 81. And Valtteri Bottas on 49. Constructors title, Red Bull 759, Ferrari 554. What do you shake?
I was just wondering if you were going to give us the top 11 again, like you did with your drivers' top 10 list.
Yeah, who was equal 10th?
Mercedes 515, Alpine Renault 173, McLaren 159, Alfa Romeo 55, Aston Martin 55, Haas 37, AlphaTauri 35, and Williams on 8th, with the Sprint Master rounding out 11th with Biscuits 0, zilch 0. Standard.
That's why we're on number 70. It's usually about where I rank nationally at any given time.
Now, 2023. I know we haven't even seen cars out yet. There's all this stuff going on, but what are the things that you guys are going to be looking out for next year?
More passing. I reckon with the floor and the tweaks they're doing to that, they should be able to run even closer than they have this year. So I'm hoping that they will be able to have more exciting racing. I'm looking forward to seeing how the 6 sprint races turn out.
What were the tracks that they had them at?
Yeah, now this... Azerbaijan, Brazil, Austin, Spa. And now I'm drawing blanks.
Azerbaijan sprint race?
Yeah.
Wow. Did they do that this year? I can't remember.
No.
Wow, what a track to have a sprint race.
Well, that long straight's going to be helping.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Imagine the chaos and carnage, though, in the first half of that track.
Well, the first corner.
Yeah, true.
What are you looking forward to? Red Bull Ring and Qatar.
Okay. Yep. Oh, that makes sense. Yep. What am I looking forward to? I want to see whether the cars are going to look dramatically different from this year to next year. I would be very interested to see how Fernando goes in Aston Martin and how his relationship with Lance Stroll will go.
The bill payer's son.
Yeah.
Can't wait until he gets told how bad the car is.
I'm actually, we didn't cover Matteo Binotto resigning from Ferrari. That was a big thing, and who they get to replace him.
You missed the Dr. Evil little.
You know what?
Resigning,
yeah. I don't know. I think it's harsh if you just pinpoint it on one person. I think it was a cumulative effort this year that contributed to Ferrari's misgivings. It's easy to point it to Mattia Binotto, but at the end of the day, the strategy team are with the engineers, right, that sit underneath him. The drivers made mistakes that sit underneath him, right, or there. But then also you've got engine failures too, right? The car, if you want to base it purely... The first thing is that you've got to remember where Ferrari came from last year to this year, right? It was 2 years ago when with COVID season. There's no way I expected the F175 to be the car that it was in the first half of the year. I mean, if it wasn't that it was so good and we were looking to a car like last year, it probably the glaring effect of the championship and how they screwed up probably wouldn't have been as bad, and the pressure wouldn't have been as great. So I would say, look, he's been a loyal servant for that team. He's been around since '97.
Yep.
You know?
And at the end of the day, though, the buck stops at the top. He was the top, and they were consistent, the same mistakes consistently. So he should have been more accountable for fixing that and making sure that it wasn't continuously happening.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the pit wall just like Horner and all the others. He can go, hey, why the hell are we pitting?
Well, for me, that was going to be my next point. Was that the big thing that I want to see next year is, one, who they get, because I heard it's Freddie Vasseur that they're targeting, and then if they bring out just as good a car as this year, next year, and then all of a sudden there is no strategic blunders, then you know that the finger was pointed at Mattia. But if they get someone else and you're still getting the same issues, then it's much, much bigger than that.
Absolutely.
Then it's Flavor Flav time.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see whether Mercedes actually make their comeback, and I want to see how the Red Bull progress.
How do we expect, with how this season finished, is anyone expecting Ricciardo to actually make a race start next year? Do the tensions with Max and Checo get strained enough that they have to sit him out and Ricciardo comes in?
Well, the accusations that were flying towards the end of last season, if you base it on what the media was saying, were enough to be quite fractious.
I'm saying yes.
Checo's got that temper about him. He's got the Latino blood. Like,
And what, Max is a choir boy?
Well, no, Max is a choir boy. Checo brings back the old school sort of, like your South American, your Senna,
he's got that Latin temperament.
He's got that temperament, and we've seen it in countless categories. You get one of the Latin boys fired up, and it's pretty good to watch.
Go off. Yeah, exactly. They go off and then become highly irrational. So, I don't know. It's set to be it's going to be interesting, I think.
I think so. It's going to be another hotly contested year in the Formula One paddock, I reckon.
What you think at AlphaTauri?
To be honest with you, and I know this is going to break your heart, but I would not be surprised if De Vries gets the upper hand on Yuki very early.
It won't happen. There's no doubts about it. Yuki is going to struggle against De Vries.
Yeah. So, but watch this space, hey? I think it all will be revealed in a few months' time when cars start to come out, and we're going to be sitting here throwing cream puffs at each other over Lewis Hamilton again, like we've done for the last 12 months.
Sideways tip on that: De Vries into a Red Bull before DR.
Yeah, okay. There we go. All right.
Juicy. And on that note, we're off to a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk MotoGP.
This week's Christmas special at Foodland. SA's Lucina Lucan cooks large king prawns, 16 to 20, just $26.90 a kilo, till December 13th while stocks last.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide, proudly sponsored by True Steel Frames. I feel like I'm looking at Seb Vettel with that finger being pointed at me now by Harry, the single finger.
It's my finger guns like Ricciardo when he was about to pass Ocon on the main straight at Mexico.
That was very cool. Very cool. MotoGP, the Pecco Show. How good. Don't put your head in your hands, you gug. What are you doing? You and I created that title, the Pecco Show, over a chat one night.
This was all you. All you.
All me.
No part of this.
Right. Okay. How long we got until news? 15?
You got 10.
10 minutes.
10
right.
minutes, yeah.
Okay. Key moments from the season for me. All right. And there's 9 of them. All right. 9.
Only 9?
Yeah, only 9.
He's making up for the 11 that he gave us in the top 10.
Struggles with 10.
It's give and take.
How are your fingers looking? You got one like half missing or something.
No, they're all right. They're all good. I've got office hands.
You got to start using them.
Yeah. Hey.
There's 10. Use them.
That could go down a really bad rabbit hole, Biscuits. Number 1, Enya Bastianini wins in Qatar. First win since boss Fausto Grassini's death due to COVID. What a way to start a season.
Amazing.
Yes. Number 2 was Alexis Spargaro's win which was his first win in the main class, and Aprilia's first win at the Termas de Rio Honda in Argentina, which was the first race back at Argentina since 2019. Number 3, key moment for me was the contrasting fortunes in Catalunya, with Espargaro mistiming the laps from the lead and losing out. That's a Biscuits thing to do, where you actually celebrate one lap too early.
Did do that at Blanchetown. Huge slider on Joel Heinrich.
Oh.
And he tells it best. He got to piss himself laughing watching me airbox it across the finish line.
Yeah.
Anyway, Espargaro does Biscuits and mistimes the laps from the lead and loses out on a home podium, while Taka Nagagami took out Alex Rins and Pecco on the first corner. And if you remember that crash, that's where his helmet hit the rear wheel of Bagnaia at full, about 200k an hour as well. So Pecco's win at the Dutch Grand Prix, which was moment number 4 after his German Grand Prix crash, and that saw him entering the Dutch Grand Prix 91 points down. Fabio Quartararo crashes twice, and Espargaro comes from near last to finish P4, and this actually starts the Ducati momentum swing, which falls into number 5, where Pecco then wins the next 4 races, which were Silverstone, the Red Bull Ring, Misano, and also Assen as well, if you include that. And that closed the gap to Quartararo to 30 points. Number 6 was Marc Marquez returning to Aragon, and straight away in the first 2 laps was involved in 2 incidents, as only Marc Marquez can do. And Enya Bastianini winning the race with Pecco second to close the gap to 10 points. Highlight number 7 was Jack Miller's win in Japan as Pecco crashed.
Standard.
It was when he was under pressure, yes, I must admit. There's only a chink in his armour. Number 8 was Alex Rins' win in Phillip Island and at Valencia with Pecco second. Quartararo falling, giving Pecco a 14-point advantage. And Jack having that horrific crash at the bottom of, was it turn 3, I think it was? Yeah. And then the 9th was when the great man wins his first title in Valencia to seal and cap the greatest comeback in motorsport history.
How are you great if you've won 1 title?
It's the greatest comeback in motorsport history, mate. You give me another title and another championship where someone has come from 91 points down with 8 or 9 races to go in the season. We being the
I would
dream
have said
team
whoever
over
knocked
here,
off Toyota that year, the car broke, starting the last lap of Le Mans probably was a better comeback.
Oh, God, no. God, no. Actually, speaking of Toyota, I don't know whether you guys have seen it. It's been doing the rounds on socials before we do top 10 riders for MotoGP. 1998 WRC with Carlos Sainz and the Toyota Corolla.
Oh, where he throws the helmet through the back window in Britain.
After the... It
breaks down inside of the finish
All he had
line.
to do was finish when Toppy Mäkinen rips the right rear off. Mackinnon's already flown back home. Sainz literally just has to finish, and the motor pops a hole in the block
Carlos
inside of the actual finish. What? Oh, just a heartbreak.
Well, surely you get out and push it.
Well, I don't think you're allowed to. I think
it locked up.
Oh,
because
proper
he
locked
babied it for the whole
maybe 100 meters, 200 meters.
I reckon he babied it for like 2 or 3 Ks just
to try
and it was like
home.
within sight.
And then there was water everywhere. And I mean, how would you be?
Helmet through the back window though.
How would you be?
Great throw.
Well,
up there with Tony Stewart's at Bristol, probably second.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Very quickly, top 10 riders for me. Shall I start from 10?
Yes.
To 1? Okay.
10
cool.
this time?
Yes.
Yep.
10.
Equal 15th.
Number 10, Marco Bezzecchi. Number 9, Johan Zarco. Number 8, Maverick Vinales. Number 7, Luca Marini. Number 6, Jack Miller. Number 5, Brad Binder. Number 4, Fabio Quartararo. Number 3, Enya Bastianini. Number 2, Alexa Spargaro. And number 1, Pecco.
Right. That's like my top 5's the same. I've just swapped Alex Spargaro and Pecco around at the top.
You go for... Yeah, okay.
Think about the bikes they're on.
True.
I have Luca Marini in 10, Jorge Martin in 9, Johan Zarco in 8th, Brad Binder 7th, Alex Rins 6th, Jack in 5th, Alessia Spargaro in 4, Fabio Quartararo in 3, Enea Bastianini in 2, and Bagnaia in number 1.
The only thing that stopped me from putting my boy Jorge Martin in the top 10 was the crashes. If he can actually keep that bike upright, right?
Georgie Martin's the second coming of old mate.
How did Bagnaia get in your list then? If
Pecco's number 1.
Yeah, but if Jorge had missed out because of crashes, then how did Francesco Bagnaia get in because of crashes?
It's got to be the Jorge name.
It was the nature.
Jorge.
Jorge. Look, for me, it was just the second half of the season. Look, put it this way. Pecco in the first half of the season underachieved.
Yeah.
The second half of the season, it was just superb. You couldn't fault him.
Yeah, I think on the flip side, I reckon Jorge overachieved first half of the season, and then his second half of the season was they mirrored each other.
Yeah.
Like Jorge was there or thereabouts until about 7 or 8 rounds to go, and then he crashed harder than Quartararo did.
Yeah, whereas I thought Alexis Spargaro is right up there too.
That hammerhead had no business being anywhere near the front of the field.
Oh, man.
He ragdolled the thing up there.
That pass that he pulled off for Assen on the last lap, that was full biscuit style first corner, like 3 deep and
full send.
Eyes shut.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, here's a question for you.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble.
Okay, what would you find worse being a racing driver? Crashing out on the first lap, or crashing out...
Oh, this is my fault.
Or crashing out on the last lap?
The last lap's worse, for sure.
Yeah?
Because you know what you had and what could have been. When you only crash out in the first corner or the first lap, well, you don't really know what could have been. So you're like going in there with hopes and dreams, where hopes and dreams have almost become a reality, and then they've been snatched out from underneath you.
Well, a man that's got experience... Over to my left.
I haven't actually junked it on the last lap, believe it or not. I don't normally make it
You don't make it that far.
I've watched 5 state titles not having done a corner.
Yep.
And a national title having done 3, I think it was. But I made it to the bottom of the hill at Mount Gambier.
Yeah.
It's not a fun experience, that's for sure.
Oh, dear. Yeah, for me, I'd say, last lap. You know, especially if you're at the back of the field, who cares?
No. You've got the worst. Celebrating the entire in-lap, and then your mechanic telling you before you've even made it to the scales that you haven't won. Because
you're going to get pinged.
That stung. That still hurts.
Was that you or
that was him? That was him. And then I told him that he wasn't going to win because someone was putting in a protest.
I pretty well jumped straight over the NASA panel into his arms.
Yeah,
expecting
where was this at again?
Monarto close state titles in 2000 and I don't know.
We were 2 seconds off the pace. It was not deserved, but
jeez. Yep. Tell you what. Very quickly before we're off to a break, what are you guys looking forward to in MotoGP in 23?
Riders riding bikes. I don't get fully around the MotoGP because it's on at all silly hours.
9:30 at night on a Sunday night, silly hours.
Yeah, but then there's always a Formula 1 on, or true. You're at work or whatever, So, and then because I missed most of the start of the season being in America, I'm just actually probably looking forward to actually watching it.
Yeah. No, fair call. Yeah, you were. I keep forgetting that. It feels like a lifetime ago that you were tripping the line fantastic in Miami, pretending to work hard while you're putting photos of you sunbaking at your hotel resort.
Sure.
For me, I want to see how Bastianini versus Pecco goes. That's the big one for me.
Yep.
And how
Jack goes at KTM.
Yeah, he's been talking a big game there. I want to see how many crashes Marc Marquez tallies up by the end of the year as well.
Double digits.
Surely he's done soon.
Yeah.
Oh, he wouldn't want any more, would he? Speaking of done, we've done with this segment and we're off to a break. Yeah, you like that one.
Radio Italia 1.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the motorsport show proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide and sponsored by True Steel Frames. Hope you're enjoying the season finale. We've had a few messages come through from some listeners that have been hanging all sorts of crap on us, which has been great. So we might even open the phone line soon and we can have an interactive piece to end the show, which is
opening a can of worms.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you are listening live and you do want to give us some sort of well wishes or thank us for our year of service to the radio airwaves,
or to complain about any of Jamie's jokes.
Yep. The number to call is 8212-3599. That is 8212-3599. Go on. Make our night. Go on, I dare you.
Yeah. All right. Well, you get to answer the call. I'll just sit there and get slammed. So it's all right.
It's often one of my favourite moments.
Well, getting slammed. Lucky boy. All right. So on Viet Supercars, how good was the Adelaide 500?
Amazing that it was back. What an absolute pleasure.
It was fantastic. And I actually would probably go as far as saying it'd be probably two of the best races I've seen the 500 have over at least the last 5 years.
Yep. Yeah, well, the first one, obviously, with the new track surface and stuff, definitely helped things. And then the second race on Sunday wasn't amazingly exciting. But I think even taking that one step further, as an event, it was probably the best event for the Adelaide 500 in probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If not, maybe longer.
100%. And for me, having gone all 4 days, the moment that I walked in through, because I always go through gate 10, which is the bottom of the hairpin there, last corner. Walking through, the first thing I noticed was the improved levels of infrastructure in terms of grandstand, corporate boxes, just the facilities, the layout, everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, they've lifted the game. And it just showed to me, because I didn't go in 2020, and I heard your mum was saying that 2020 was a dive. And you know what? Even just looking at the race highlights on Fox in 2020, when you had the overhead view of the old shade structure of the main grandstand, where all the colours were faded and sun-drenched, and it's like, my God, this is a marquee event. How could you have any pride looking on something like that? Yeah. That's like state grade go-karting, sun-bleached, drenched marquee stuff when you're talking about a multi-million-dollar motor race.
Yeah. A lot of that infrastructure come from Formula One too, so it's going to be packed up now. It's mostly packed up. Head straight over to Melbourne and start being installed for the Formula One, which is a great way to do things. It saves on infrastructure storage that needs to be had somewhere. By the time the Formula One's finished and being unbuilt, then it comes straight back here and gets built again for the 500. So, smart way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? And I said it in a few of my posts where I was waffling a lot in the morning on the way to the track, just to kill some time. But you know what? Kudos to the South Australian government and the South Australian Motorsport Board for pulling that event off. It was absolutely fantastic. But the buzz that you could feel within the track, like it was, for me, it was amazing. Like it was, people actually. Your mum, Deb, put it best, mate, was when she felt, and shout out to Deb, hope you're doing well, that the race had to be taken away in order for it to be appreciated and then for it to come back the way that it did. Yeah. And when you think back, one, we were lucky, because the election result could have gone either way. Yeah. But then two, I would have to agree with her.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we would have gone... Myself and Biscuits, we would have gone no matter what.
Yeah,
if it was on, it was on. But for some of those people that were like maybes, and saved buying their tickets to on the days or later than that even, or just go for the concerts, it definitely fired up those ticket sales. And they've got in on the front foot again for next year with big Robbie Williams. I just hope it doesn't have a negative impact and most people buy the Sunday ticket just to go to the concert and then you end up seeing empty grandstands, because that would be a real shame.
Chili Peppers effect.
Yeah, the old Chili Peppers effect, because there was no one really there during the day for Chili Peppers, and then you get there and you can barely even stand up in the concert arena.
Yeah.
But and one of the best things they have done is move the concert arena back to
where it belongs.
Yeah, the football field on the other side there on Bartels Road, because when they moved it out behind turn 13, 14 there, that was a silly move.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think you had CBC Oval there. You had all that space in the infield in the middle of the track. It's not like it's a big walk. It should have stayed there, whereas they compressed everything around. There was no differentiation between gold class and general admission. Like in 2019.
There was people able to get in the back of the gold class behind the stands where we were. And I think the one thing that they do maybe need to focus on, and I'm not sure if it's an event or Supercars thing, is the paddock access, because the paddock access was just absolutely insane. There was so many people down there. And
that's because Toby was letting everyone
No, it's because it was so cheap to get in. Like it was like $10 a day or whatever, or $30 for the whole weekend. Like every Tom, Dick and Charlie was down the back there, and it was kind of overcrowded a few times when I went down there to try and catch up with people, good friends that you have in the paddock, and you can't get a look in.
You were only there to see Shaz.
Yeah, Shazza and Todd and Rusty.
Shaz. Had a good chat with her. Great, got a bit of hug and a kiss on the cheek as well. God bless her, Shaz.
Yeah.
She loved our podcast, by the way.
She does. Yeah. I appreciate that she listens to it.
She still had nails left when I saw her. I didn't see her after Saturday morning.
No, they were gone. They were gone. Her fingers were in the permanently locked, crossed position whenever I saw her.
She's going to have RSI.
Yeah. She was... when I saw her, she was going to watch the race 1 in the corporate box directly above the pit on the Saturday. And I looked specifically for her when poor Todd got KO'd in that race to try and see what the reaction was. I didn't see her. I think she would have thrown the arms in the air and slammed the door shut or something like that. But, talking about someone that seriously invested in her son's career and just rides every wave of emotion as well. Half an hour before the top 10, and she's nervous as, but the most down-to-earth, lovely person you could meet.
Shaz was nervous as before Carby session at a club day in the middle of nowhere at Barossa Light.
Oh, man. But who would have thought that a change of track surface would actually completely change the race and the outcome and the performance of teams and stuff? Because that was probably the worst I've seen Red Bull all year.
Yeah, but that was down to strategy as well. Walkinshaw absolutely smashed the strategy on Saturday with getting their fuel drop done early. They absolutely killed it, and Todd had done his fuel drop too, so he was on for probably 4th at worst, possibly 3rd. He was on Courtney. It was a super shame to see him get absolutely pile-drived by Cam. But I think the strategy did more damage than the track surface. The track surface just made every other passing manoeuvre, because there was only one real race line rubbered in. Made it a little bit sketchy.
He did the most damage out of it all.
Well, and that because he stood on it on qualifying and made his weekend hard. Like, he fought back through, but then with Mostert getting the elbows out and sending him, and Shane binning himself as well.
On that point, why did it take the final race of the season for the drivers to actually stand up to SVG like that?
No one else did, though.
For it all. Yeah, but I know.
It was only Mostert that got the elbows out. Like, if you played the best of radio edit that Supercars put up the other day, I think it was Percat jumps on in race 1 and says, they're all just getting out of Shane's way. It's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, we've been saying that all year.
Yeah, that was the truth. So, one person getting stuck into Shane is a completely different story to the other 24 of them.
Yeah, exactly right. You guys are known for your kamikaze passing manoeuvres. Was the Waters move on, or did it deserve the 5-second penalty that he got?
That Waters move was never on. He had the red mist on from making his own mistake, and he just tried to full send it on Todd. You can't just go all the way to the apex and then stop on it and drive straight the side of someone and say, oh, he turned in on me. If Todd wasn't there, Waters doesn't make that corner.
It was one of those brain fades you do where you get run wide, or you have a mistake and you're not even thinking and you just send it into the guy. Usually it was good to clear the head doing that.
Definitely wasn't on.
Let's run through the top 10 results of the Saturday. So Chaz Mostert first, Nick Percat second, James Courtney third, Brody Kostecki fourth, Tim Slade fifth, Mark Winterbottom sixth, Will Davison seventh, Brock Feeney eighth, Andre Heimgartner ninth, and Lee Holdsworth rounding up the top 10. Some big movers in that race, notably Nick Percat, 18 positions, Mark Winterbottom 15 positions, and Tim Slade, Brody Kostecki made up 9, and even Chaz made 8. So strategy in that second safety car certainly sort of set that race up. And then obviously Sunday, a lot of the other teams had kind of got their act together and figured out the track and that type of thing too. But the thing I loved about it was that it was always evolving. The track was changing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, which made for some really good racing.
And some other hard luck stories as well with Scotty Pye had pace in both races and both qualifying sessions, and then the ugly power steering failures again. And, you know, he's had
You saw how much I don't know if you watched it after you got home, that
he was
cutting to
he
watch.
was almost in tears. He was almost in tears.
On Saturday.
And you know, the one race of the year that he gets his mum to come along and all, you know, racing on the home streets means and to go out like he did, like and
he's
when the
an
car's
Adelaide
fast,
boy.
When the car's fast too, like far out.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like Team 18, both cars, and they rolled out on Thursday afternoon and Friday morning. Both cars were just super quick. And the thing with that team is that they've had power steering issues all year.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the year, they took the power steering and design in-house.
Yeah.
So what they decided to do was that they wanted to take more control of the mechanical components because they were too reliant on 888. And so to get 2 mechanical failures of power steering on the one weekend was the first one on the Saturday as a result of the collision, though.
That definitely didn't help.
Yeah. Because that was pretty hard impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not that Scott said. Scott said it was like the lightest touch, but it looked pretty aggressive.
Oh, the steering failed after that point, really. Yeah. So that contributed to it. But, yeah, gut-wrenching. Absolutely gut-wrenching. Yeah. You know, for the team and for Scotty, really.
Yeah.
What else was how did you guys feel when the cars cross the line, the event's over, and you stand back and you think to yourself, you know, in main game anyway, that's actually the last time you'll see Holden race?
Doesn't really bother me.
No,
I don't really. I'm not one for the Holden Ford thing. Like, I've never followed Ford or Holden or not liked a driver because they drive one or the other. Don't really care. I've followed Craig Lowndes when he was racing, and from Holden to Ford, back to Holden, and Win Cup and all that as well. Like, 888 were a good team. They went from Holden to Ford, then back to Holden, or Ford to Holden, sorry. And then, good. Doesn't really affect me as long as the racing next year's as good. If not better.
What about you, mate?
High school bickies would have been in tears.
Yep.
I got pretty well indoctrinated into the red side growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Older me, same as Leigh.
Yep.
Couldn't really give two rats. I mean, they haven't raced anything resembling a Holden since Scaife decided to reinvent the sport in NASCAR's image.
Yep. Don't blame him, for God's sake.
Car
you not
of the future.
Be another
car
one
of tomorrow.
Can you not be another one of the dills that are on the forums that talk absolute
up with something
tripe?
original?
Oh my God! Seriously, you guys. The amount of times I read the stuff from the V8 Supercars and my stomach curdles from all the tripe.
Which is the fastest corner in Australian motorsport?
All of them.
Every
single one of them.
Caltex Chase. All right, very quickly before we go to another break, top 10 results for, Brock Feeney, Karting Australia's first win. Ooh, I dropped it. Brock Feeney first, Chaz Mostert second. Now I'm going to get some redemption calls now for my...
You're going to have to explain it. That's the best part.
I don't have to. You stated it. It's on your Facebook. Anton Di Pasquale third. Cam Waters fourth, Andre Heimgarter fifth, Brady Kostecki sixth, Shane Van Gisbergen in seventh. Will Brown in sixth, Brady Kostecki in eighth, Lee Holdsworth in ninth, and James Golding, cracking weekenders with him as well, rounding out the top 10. Adelaide 500, great event, massive event. We're off to a break. And then when we come back, a little bit more of Negative Camber.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide and sponsored by True Steel Frames, season finale for 2022. We hope you have enjoyed the shows that we've been delivering. I actually read some stats out at the Karting SA Awards on Friday night. So, 2,468 downloads since we started off through the Podbean. So Podbean is the host engine that we use, and we can do podcasts, and I can send it through Spotify and all that sort of stuff. Our audience reach is obviously in Australia. Then we've got audiences in the US. We've got audiences in Europe, which includes the UK, Italy, Turkey. We actually got an audience in Turkey. And then there was a couple of other countries I can't remember off the top of my head now as well.
You really pissed a lot of people off when you were overseas, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why they jumped in and listened. I was banging about it all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I actually walked around with, true Miami style. I actually had a boombox and I walked around with it on my shoulder, just pumping Negative Camber. And everyone was like, "What's that you're listening to?" And I was like, just telling them. So that's why we've got so many American listeners now.
That's good. That's great. I don't mind it.
With all these stats that you're calling out, how many phone calls have we had?
0.
2.
Actually, 2.
2.
Yes.
2.
Yes.
I reckon we could double that tonight.
Who was the other one?
Someone rang in for the Adelaide show tickets.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Carol. That's right.
Yeah.
Carol. I remember Carol. So if you want to give us a call, what's the number there, Lee?
8212 3599.
I know. We're going to get interactive and you can fire questions off at Leigh and Biscuits, and I'll sit down and watch
I'm so
them
glad the Smurf can't work.
This might be a new feature that we integrate with next year's podcasts and radio shows.
Maybe.
A live caller segment.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be very interesting.
We can tell you that we can say that you're anonymous. We can try and disguise your voice if you're worried about people finding out that you're a Negative Camber listener.
Can we get Holly on the phone for a debrief from Melbourne? I heard he had a great weekend.
Probably still driving back.
I thought he was still driving the Enduro.
Actually, that was on, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the big Enduro.
Yeah.
How did that all go?
People's pole man and Ferrari boy on pole?
Yeah, Nicolo and James Wharton qualified pole. I'm not yet to see the results properly and work it out, but I think Dave Serra and Peter Busnelos had a crash on lap 1 and steering column bent and both tie rods bent. Lap 1 of a 4.5 hour Enduro and everyone's going at it like hammer and tongs. Obviously, everyone was very, very clever.
Yeah.
Brad Jenner did something like a 55-minute stint to open the race, which is
right.
Pretty
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it rained halfway through or with, a couple hours to go or whatever.
Good to see a lot of the drivers out there were exuding intelligence considering the amount of emphasis Dave put on the fact that you had to treat it as a proper endurance race.
Yeah,
the guy that organises the race walks away with basically a wingless go-kart.
Yeah. So can we go 4 hours? 4-stroke next year?
I reckon so. Maybe
my co-drive is good for a 3-minute stint and a 3-hour stint.
Do you know what? They're quick. They're quick to pour the vitriol on the class, but then when you put an endurance race on, all and sundry want to come out and play. I say, do it maybe 2 hours.
Maybe a 2-hour Enduro. We'll start there and then we can work our way up to 4.
4-hour Enduro. And my co-driver will come on around the second hour.
I reckon maybe do it a little bit earlier in the year when the conditions are just that little bit cooler.
Yeah. Because make a real Enduro while it's nice and warm.
Yeah,
we can lose some extra. That adds another element of strategy because you lose weight while you're driving, so you've got to make sure that you've got enough in the bank.
Tell me, Mr. Harrison, I believe that you have already secured your driver for the Enduro. Who is that person?
Well, I'm not 100% sure yet, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
But it's a couple. It could be a couple of people. It just depends on Nick's fitness levels. If Nick's fit, then he's going to be number one choice.
There's no Team Caravas? I feel like JK might.
No, you're going with Kayla in the new Sprint Master. And then if Nick's unavailable, then Ryan Morgan's ready to go.
Yeah, there you go. I've never seen you backpedal so fast, Harry.
Oh, why was there? There was no backpedaling.
I thought you had another driver lined up.
Cash.
Wow.
Wow. Don't you know?
No.
Shall I give the initials? GP?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
If everyone else pulls out. He's keen.
Yeah.
He's keen. But yeah, we'll see how that all rolls on.
That's all right. I owe Simon Reichelt a co-drive, even though Cashy filled the boots in wonderfully well. So, Simon, if you're listening, hello. Don't hesitate to call. You can hang crap on us. But
the spring roll.
Hey, spring roll, Simon.
Yeah,
it was his birthday during the week, so happy birthday to Simon, and I hope he's recovered from all the celebrations.
Yeah. His lovely wife Mel gave him a new bell helmet, amongst other bells and whistles.
Yeah, them Speedway boys go through gear.
Hey? Yeah, I'd imagine. Lee Holdsworth wins a Barry Sheen medal. Was a very interesting call. Was that fair, justified, or do you think it was more of a farewell gift from the V8 Supercars community?
Nah,
giving Lee he's a good driver.
He's a good driver and he's a good personality to have in the paddock. He's always fair and honest and doesn't hold back when he doesn't need to. So, I think that's fair.
Yep. No, I concur. He's a good dude, and I think the class of his drive at Bathurst last year was pretty much what set that race up for Chaz.
Yeah.
And then Cam Waters got the driver's driver, which I found very interesting. Not because I don't rate Cam, I think he's a great steerer, but Yeah, you get all the hobos that are out on the internet saying they don't. You can see how much they don't like Van Gisbergen in the pit lane.
But how did SVG win most popular driver and then the crowd had the loudest boo I've heard since Ambrose put it in the fence?
I actually think that was the Supercar Media Awards and not the Supercars Awards. Right, so the Media Awards is different.
The media like him the most.
Well, probably, yeah.
But also, that was weird on the weekend because
they booed Saturday and cheered Sunday.
He gets booed getting crashed or making crashes and getting put in the fence. He gets cheered for doing that on Saturday, and then on Sunday he's getting cheered for making passing manoeuvres and nearly winning the race. It's like, make up your mind.
Craig Lowndes is the last one I saw like that when he took old mate out on the Saturday of, was it the first Clipsal, and drove from the back the next day?
So when he hit out the I think it was Alan Heath and the colour scan Falcon on the Saturday.
Peter Dorman, wasn't it?
Or Peter Dorman, but it was the colour scan EL, and then he's come back from the rear of the grid, and then Jeff Gretsch gave us the greatest line of all time in the interview after the event. I can't say it because you're going to put the dump button on it. But
there was no Jimmy Richards.
No, but it was up there.
There's no giving it some jandal.
No, well, that was up there. Probably top three.
Yeah.
Jeff, give us some
I'm going to
jandal.
be YouTubing that one later because it's not triggering any memories to me.
No, you want to get on the Tony Uri Senior after Junior wrecked Waltrip. Yeah. That's probably, you wouldn't have seen that. That's good.
No,
that's probably throwing your cousin under the bus.
Did you guys do a top 10 or top 9 or top whatever? For
I did do the homework you sent me.
I did teach Lemura.
Yes, good.
Lemura, sir. I did do a top 10 for
Fire
Supercars.
away.
I reckon we'll let old mate over there in the corner go first. Biscuits.
Guest of honour.
Radio. Slady.
Yep.
Andre.
Yep.
Jimmy Golding. Cashy's going to like this one. Feeney, and it hurts saying it. Will. Anton. Brody Kostecki. Cam. Chaz. SVJ.
Wow, okay.
Yep. So there's a couple in there that I didn't put in. That's for sure.
Shoot.
I had Anton in 10, Tim Slade in P9, Andre Heimgartner in P8, David Reynolds in P7, Will Davison in P6, Scott Pye in P5, Kostecki in 4, Chaz 3, Cameron Waters 2, and SVG in 1.
Okay.
Are you just writing out your top 11?
I actually didn't get around to doing my top 10, so I'm going to freestyle this. All right, here goes nothing. 10th, James Courtney in 10th. He actually... No,
hang on. We'll make this easier. How about if I cut my names up in a piece of paper here, and I'll put them in Biscuits' hat, and you just...
James Courtney actually had a half good season for Tickford, right? And I think the 10th best driver.
His off season was better, I thought. But.
Well, yeah. Hey, he who shoots last always wins. And then let's see, 9th, I think Brock Feeney. I think rookie season he did okay. 8th, I would put Richie Stanaway for his drive at Bathurst and his qualify. He's come back from 3 years.
He's just trying to out DeVries us here.
Yeah. I am trying to out DeVries. I told you, this is freestyle. I'm freestyling. So I was at 8th?
Yeah.
7th, James Golden. I think he made Gary Jacobson, and I've met Gary a couple of times. He's the nicest guy, right? But
he made him look like not much chop.
He did, he did, and Penny put Pither out of a drive there for sure.
He did 16 of 34 races.
Yep.
Pither had 1,257 points as the only car to finish every race.
Yeah.
And Golding had 708 points on under half the races.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But the speed that he could get out of a car that was, had only had a mild upgrade from 888 from what they inherited from Techno, I think was just superb. Yeah, really, really classy. Now, what am I up to? Number 6th. I reckon I'm going to put Anton T. Pasquale in 6th. Second year in DJR with Ludo, and I actually really both drivers to a degree underachieved. Considering it was their second year. But definitely Anton. He's got the potential to be... He should be the one that's challenging SVG, right? Naturally.
Yep.
But underwhelming.
On many occasions, it was Will that was pumping that team.
Anton was primed to fill the Scotty role.
Yep, absolutely. What do we got? Where are we at in terms of numbers?
5.
Mississippi's or...
Brody Kostecki. I think he's pulled some ripper drives when you least expect it. And probably is up there with... He's like the racer's racer. Like, you could tell he's had American racing in his blood, because he just gives it the duck's nuts and away he goes.
Doesn't hold back at
all. Now, what, 4 are we?
Yep. That's normally what comes before 5.
Yeah. I'm just losing count because I'm freestyling here. Right?
He's not used to going up the grid.
But MC Lemura over here.
Exactly. 4th, I would put Will Davison. I think speed-wise this year, massive improvement from last year. Broke the duck. But then, it just wasn't quite polished enough, you know. And then you had the massive letdown, which was Adelaide, you know, where he himself was open enough to admit that he just wasn't good enough.
I've never been more excited by the dots lighting up on my phone cashies. Not happy with whatever Jamie just said.
He was fast in Adelaide, he just didn't get lucky.
Yeah, exactly. What are we at, 3?
Yep.
Let's see, 3, I'm going to have Chaz Mostert. I reckon... Yeah, another one of those drivers that has got the ability to pretty much win, take the fight to SVG. Cam Waters, I'd put 2.
Yeah.
And SVG was 1. So that's my top 10 in V8 Supercar land.
That you did well for freestyling.
Yeah. Freestyling,
yep.
There was no plan or thought in that. It was just way to go. Although, I reckon and that's the thing, like, it's even hard. You could put Will Brown in there somewhere. You could put maybe Mark Winterbottom. We had some moments. Scott Pye
Feeney
as well.
apparently should have been significantly higher.
Apparently. Yeah. Who was that?
That was from
That was
KFC.
sponsored by KFC.
Why did get KFC to actually get off his backside and actually give us a call on 82123599?
And he can give us all the thoughts of where we've gone wrong.
Exactly. So we're off to a break, and then when we come back, we'll be talking more of our regular segments, which is gear grinding and maybe some jokes.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide and proudly supported by True Steel Frames. Hope you're enjoying the show, the season finale, with Mr. Matt Biscuits Mahar behind the mic alongside me and our resident DJ Harrison behind the producer's desk. Waka waka, yeah. Actually, you know what? You're not doing too bad.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're not doing too bad at all for your second attempt.
And considering the first attempt was only for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and only had to do one thing once. And,
was that earlier this year?
Yeah, I think it was. It was one when we had our first call-in guest. I reckon it was when we had Greg Rust on.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
The mentor, the Yoda of this, the Yoda of the radio station went and grabbed the connector for the phone.
I'll never forget us looking at each other with the blankest looks in our face, because all of a sudden there was like dead air and nothing was on. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
I pressed the wrong button. I pressed the eject button.
Oh my God.
No.
I know. Do you have anything that grinds your gears?
I mean, I can.
Yeah. Hit the intro, mate.
Now it's time for Grind My Gears with Jamie and Leigh.
When did you guys find a manual for Leigh to drive to record that bit?
When he bought the car.
It's about the only thing he's got in common with Dave Sarah.
Bought the Barina in. Just stuck a microphone in there.
What grinds your gears, Mr. Harrison?
False advertising.
False advertising?
Yeah.
They didn't roll the red carpet out for you?
No, I mean, if you're going to name a place, Red Carpet Motel, the least you can do is put red carpet in there. And I have this gripe constantly. Like,
that's pretty 1965.
But don't name it something else. Brown Carpet Motel.
Yeah, but red
don't
carpet
sell me
regal.
The idea of red carpet and regalness.
Yeah.
And then give me brown carpet.
Well,
I paid good money for that red carpet.
It's Mount Gambier though, man. It's a regional location.
And you know what? There wasn't even red carpet in the foyer. I could have understood red carpet in the foyer and then not in the rooms, but not even. No red carpet to be seen. But it is better than not being rung to be told that your hotel room is not actually going to be available because there's problems with it.
You know who I think really values your services? Cody. Because he shafted you and left you on the floor. Hotel room. That's pretty rough.
There was a roof over my head. That was fine.
That's true. Slumming it out.
We've slept in worse.
In or with?
All of the above.
What grinds your gears, Mr. Biscotti?
Being here.
He loves it.
Jamie's jokes. Drivers' briefings.
Okay.
Long-standing ones.
Which ones? Which classes? What are we talking about?
Every driver's briefing.
What's wrong with them?
Do you mean like drivers' briefings that have been long-standing, or like
I think they're all long-standing.
When you go to the Karting Australia like national championships and it's the same thing as the club days, or do you mean drivers' briefings where you're standing for a long time?
It's all of the above. Really. Just drivers' briefings in general. So these days we're sending out scrutineering and we're doing all of that online and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Leigh spent half the day practicing down at Mount Gambier. Then we stopped for, what was it, half hour, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
For drivers' briefing in the middle of the day, for them to explain how to exit the pits and enter the pits that we've all been doing for most of the day by now, and some people have been doing for the day before. Now, it's not on the stewards because they have to do it.
Yeah.
But surely we've reached a point in this day and age where we can pull the sup regs out, the stewards can call us all together at 8 o'clock in the morning and go, everyone's here, these are our 5 points we need to discuss, and
that is one of them, driving into and out of the pits.
I was going to say, what is Mr. FIA? Actually, no, you know what? The both of us are actually graded officials now. You do realise that.
One of us has experience.
I knew there was a reason my inner disgust with both of you.
Don't you worry, next year, baby, I'm going to be all experienced up.
Everything needs a driver's briefing, just to remember and remind a few people. If we put the onus on the driver, then I guarantee you that no one's going to read the sub-regs, and then I guarantee you that the first time you try and ping someone, they're going to go, I didn't know that. And look, to be honest, they probably still will go, I don't really know that, because they still wouldn't have read and listened in driver's briefing, but at least on our part as clerk of course, we know that we've done the right thing and said what we needed to say to make sure. Ones that drag on are a little bit, I agree, ones that drag on are a little bit boring, and then you lose your concentration. And I like to, when I do one, just go in and say, you've read the driver's briefing notes. By signing your entry form, you acknowledge that you have read and understood the driver's briefing notes, and if there's any questions regarding those driver's briefing notes, then please raise your hand now. Otherwise, this is what we saw at the last race meeting that we needed to work on, and then we're sort of over and done with within a couple of minutes. But constantly saying we're going to go out the outgrid here and turn right when there's a big arrow that shows us which way to go. Probably not needed.
Right then and then, I just had the image of Jean-Marie Balestre.
I do. You want the cone? I get the cone.
Yeah, exactly. These rules are my rules and my rules only. You, right over there, Harrison. What?
KFC says the lack of ADCA talk on here grinds his gears, which that's probably pretty valid.
Well, we've got Mr. ADCA
biggest
right
association
now,
in SA.
We've got Mr. ADCA in right now.
We've got Mr. ADCA.
I wouldn't go Mr. ADCA, that's all.
We asked you for a debrief on Friday night, and you gave us all of about 35 seconds of information.
That was about all you wanted for Friday, really.
All right. You want to know what grinds my gears?
I'm waiting for it.
The S5000 class grinds my gears.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes.
My God.
Support.
You know what?
The super part spin.
Do you know what? Okay, so I get to the track, and the first thing I hear is the S5000s, and the first time you hear them, you're like, wow. Firstly, how loud are these things? But then secondly, it's like, okay, the noise sounds good for the first car, but then lap after lap after lap, and then we're in a cluster of them, you kind of sit back and you think to yourself, they got a Coyote V8 in there, one of the best-sounding Ford V8s ever made, and yet they've made it sound like a fart in a tin can.
Matches how the cars look.
How? Yeah. My God, if that's meant to be the premier open wheeling class and you're wanting to have people being drawn to it purely for the sound outside of the noise, no. Wrong. Change the exhaust note for the love of God, because it was hideous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was bad.
Oh, the racing's not good either. And I can't, the support categories were lackluster. If that was anything that I had to pick a gripe on with the 500, was the support card was not fun.
Knocking the Aussie cars, but even the Aussie cars aren't the same thing. Like back when Coddy won the series, there was 12 cars that could have won.
But it was an invitational non-championship round thing, so they didn't have to race for anything. If they were racing for something, there would have been 10 more cars and 5 more drivers. Like Ruggier would have come back, Kel Tressida would have come back. Like there would have been more drivers. But look, is what it is. We got
and they're not back next year.
No, they can get rid of Touring Car Masters for all I care too. Like,
Yeah.
I think, like, look, in my opinion, I don't go there to watch the support categories unless they're going to give, like, close action-packed racing, like stadium trucks, Aussie racing cars. I reckon if they had XLs in there,
XLs would go off.
XLs would go in there with 40, 45 cars.
The best race
racing
on
would
Clip's
be
all weekend used to be the HQs.
Yeah, and then something like improved production as well, like because you've got cars that are fast somewhere, and others aren't the same. GTs as well. I could take or leave them. There was only a couple of cars that were pretty competitive, but not track made.
Yeah, the concern for me, based on those two classes, was how small the Touring Car Masters grid was.
Yeah.
And then also how small the GT3 class was. Now, I don't know whether it's because of the fact that it was the last race, it's the first week of December. Some of these teams are actually saving their pennies to prepare for the Bathurst 12 Hour, which is in February or January or something like that, very early next year. They're on limited budgets and all that sort of stuff. And I also get the fact that they pretty much had a very small time frame to get the support category together.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'd love to see the XLs.
TCR Trans Am?
Yes.
TCR, because it conflicts and they're not going to do it. Like, otherwise, yes.
It'd make a great Super 2 class.
Yes,
I'd
Trans
do it.
Am.
Trans Am, yes.
There's your Super 2, there's your Super 3 class.
Yeah, I'd do. Well, I mean, even the Super 2, Super 3, I mean, why do they have 3 Super 3 cars out to do their qualifying and not mix it up with the Super 2s? Like, it was just 3. It almost looked like a media day.
Because then if they get balked on a lap by someone that's in a Super 2, I can understand that as well. Then you don't want to have that affect the championship and all that sort of stuff. But then if they're going to,
yeah. But you know what? I mean, why don't you just have a normally aspirated V6 motor of some sort, like they had with the Formula Holdens, and at least they sounded better.
Yeah.
And the S5000s, I think when you see them in the flesh, too long, too big. And
mismatched wheels make them look like clown cars.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I commend Gary Rogers Motorsport and whoever designed the S5000s, Tim Macker, I think it is, for trying to create an open wheeler class that reflects the past when S5000 was the bee's knees. But you look at a Matic in the hands of Josh Buchan going around Eastern Creek, where he was feathering that throttle and that thing was losing sideways, and you compare to what we saw on the weekend, it's not S5000s, and it's just horrid exhaust note. Oh, God.
There's no need for them to have modern F1 European Formula style aero. They should have been slab-sided Yankee-built things.
I'd rather just
give us an early 90s IndyCar Reynard look. That's no
downforce.
Yeah, that's a modern evolution of where Super 5000 would have gone.
I'd throw back Formula Ford.
Yep, Formula Ford, Formula 3.
Ford. You mean to tell me that Formula Ford is...
It's been a while since I've seen a good canoeing.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean to tell me Formula Ford is more expensive to run than S5000? No. Oh, come on, man.
Yep.
Even get the Formula Vs out. Do something completely different.
I still stand by
15 20
cars.
Yeah.
I think it was mid-2000s we were on the bulldoze the track and turned Victoria Park into a dirt track.
Yeah.
That was...
I reckon even put that bitumen track in there for go-karts and would draw more fans. But, look, they just need more numbers on the support bill, for sure.
Absolutely.
Seeing 10 cars drive around is not fun and doesn't keep anyone in the stands.
Yeah.
It's a good time to go and get a drink because you don't miss anything. But,
for me, Trans Am, definitely. I'd even throw TCR in there for something different.
Yeah.
I mean, God, if they could have...
TCR on a street circuit like that would be...
that'd be amazing. Amazing. And it's not going to compete with the V8s.
V8s are so worried about a competitor that they hurt themselves.
Yeah.
I read on Speed Hunters, there's a media guy that come over from America. I'm sure Leigh probably has crossed his path or something. And he was shocked by the lack of access V8s give him. So from the time the driver's in the car, you're not allowed to film, put anything up. It's all controlled by V8s.
Controlled by supercars.
And, I mean, with that level of control just on the teams in the meet, they're too scared to let anything else pop up. I mean, if they embraced what Cam Waters is doing in Speedway, you would be shocked at the amount of follows you get because it is genuinely more exciting to...
Yeah, we've seen it with Formula One as well. You give the access and the following and the back, the behind the scenes stuff. The following and the fans absolutely goes bananas. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I just think if they could do it for Bathurst for 1 week, where they had all of the classes out there competing for 1 week at Mount Panorama, where they supposedly put all their differences aside, you can do it for the marquee events across the country.
Absolutely.
Great. No class losers. Not when you get 258,000 people there over 4 days.
Absolutely.
No
and provides good
losers.
racing and close racing and puts on a spectacle.
And a TCR, for example, or a Trans Am around that street circuit would be mint.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mint. Are we off to another break before we go? All right, we'll be off to a break, and then we'll appease the 8K hearts out there, especially Mr. I'm pretending I'm sick, Andrew Cash.
Obviously got nerves on, didn't want to come in, too scared.
Hey, what would you do? Would you suck down a bucket of the Colonel's finest and not be on the show? Or would you rather be on the show and missed out on?
I'm going to suck down a bucket of Colonel's finest on my way home.
Oh, okay.
Why can't we have both, like the old El Paso taco ads?
I agree. Let's go to a break and we'll come back.
You're listening to Negative Camber with Jamie and Leigh, sponsored by True Steel Frames, providing steel frames and roof trusses for any size projects. TrueSteelFrames.com.au.
Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsports show, proudly supporting Scuderia Ferrari Club Adelaide and proudly supported by True Steel Frames as well. We are on the final stint of our season finale. It's been a blast. It's gone very quickly. I think we managed to pull it off. We were meant to have Garnet Patterson, our special guest driver, come on the show, but he had a flight to Melbourne that was delayed, and that, of course, meant that we couldn't get him on, unfortunately, but we will do that early in the new year.
He will also have some very, very exciting news to share with us early in the new year.
Yes, I look forward to hearing all of that. Now, speaking of hearing, you've been harassed, bullied by all of your dirt cart brethren to talk a little bit more about the sport. So you have your chance before I close the show on a high. Open to you, Mr. Biscuits.
How did it fall to me? I feel sorry for this.
You are the man. As the ADCA representative.
You are the ADCA representative, mate.
We have spoken to all of the bigwigs at the Australian Independent Dirt Karting Association, and they have said that you are their spokesperson.
This is a bad move for the sport. So
I'm expecting an influx of Bitumen members.
Yeah, definitely. Nah. You guys don't have that much money.
It's they're not calling anyway.
Long story short, we're all running dirt now because it's a quarter of the price. Like Cashy said when we come on here briefly, it's just a significantly better organisation. We'll get you two boys out at some point next year. We've been putting the wheels in motion. I've got a couple of spare go-karts and we'll get
I've never driven
there.
a two-stroke before, so
yeah,
what better to do than dirt?
We were discussing which engine we were going to leave on for you to blow up, but
we should just put some dirt tyres on his DR and it'll probably go around with the four-stroke on it.
Well,
Might be a good introduction.
The real question was going to be, what were you jumping in? Because you like to talk yourself up a little bit on the dirt.
Just a touch. Just a touch.
You've seen me
straight
drive
in the 100, you reckon?
Yeah,
or?
I reckon. You've seen me. I can handle it.
I'm glad that caught his motors.
Here we go. We've got a call.
Well, we'll see how we go here. It might not be for us.
Yeah.
They might be complaining about us.
It might be the station saying, right, get these idiots off.
They're out of time.
Yeah.
They keep going. So, Adka, what are we doing?
No worries. Stay on.
Well,
we have Mr. Andrew Cash.
Oh, God.
We finally lured him in.
Took your time.
Mr. Cash.
Mr. Cash. Well, I hear you've decided to give us a call.
I had to cut him off before he ruined it for everyone.
Cheers for the bailout.
All right, mate. Come on. Out with it. Let's
yours.
go. The floor is yours.
I don't think I can miss it again. You guys, seriously, Brody Kostecki in front of Roll.
Consistency is a good thing, my friend.
Oh, yeah, he's consistently terrible.
It's an opinion-based show. It's a personal opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah. You do sound pretty good for someone that's a bit rough around the gills.
Yeah, I'm also very busy with work, so it's not
That's all right.
terrible time of year.
Well,
but that's all right.
You've called in to save us from listening to Matt not talk up.
Were you out delivering presents based on your new race suit?
Mate, Fred goes faster.
Yes. See? Amen, brother. Amen. Anyway, quick, dirt carts. Let's go. Come on.
Dirt cart, yeah.
Yes.
Cheap, affordable, fun.
Dirty.
Not being ruined by someone that wants to make their kids win V8 Supercar races.
Ooh, there it
Kids
is.
did win V8 Supercar races.
Yes, that is true. Thoroughly did deserve it. So,
He did drive very, very well on the Sunday.
So talk us through the clean-up routine there, Cashy, because that's what gets me.
Cashy wouldn't know. Phil does it all.
We're speaking of the wrong Cash.
Does Shirley do a lot of loads of laundry, or what's the go?
No, I do that. Yeah. If she found out the washing went in her washing machine, she wouldn't be very happy. No, it's simple. It's literally a gurney, W40 and a wipe over. No different to how you guys clean your cars.
I spent less time cleaning my dirt carts than I did my bitumen carts, so that gives you an idea.
These guys, they're making a tempting offer.
Yeah, I know. I do want to have a crack at it one day. I really do.
It's not
maybe
as bad as what everyone thinks. You get the odd race meeting where you get caked. Like on the weekend, I think I went through maybe 8 tear-offs.
I pulled 12 heat 1 and 2 for the rest of the night.
Yeah, but that's because you pull so aggressively. You probably could have only gone through 8.
Hang on.
I was so
still
slow
talking about tear-offs.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you guys are pulling, but, anyway, keep pulling away.
But yeah, it's not as bad as everyone thinks.
Yeah.
You're
too busy driving to notice.
Yeah.
I wash my race suits, whether it's bitumen or dirt, every race meeting anyway.
That's way too clean for me.
Mate,
Doesn't change anything.
Yeah, you're a cash. It's like pillarless, presentation. I like it.
His dad doesn't let him sit in the go-kart with a dirty suit on.
Oh, no, me and Phil, we're very far apart in that section of life.
So, has it been the cost that's drawn you to the class for the most part, or is it the racing? Is it the numbers? I mean, there's obviously multiple factors.
It's sort of everything. The first thing that pushed me away from bitumen was, I can't remember what year it was. It was 2014, I reckon. We're at the Monarto state titles. Yes, it was. 2014 Monarto state titles. And I was standing with Scott Simpson and some of his family members. And we had Mick Doohan tell us that because we are so heavy, we are not fit to be competitors. Athletes, though. We are not fit enough to be athletes, and we should not be racing. And they removed the super heavy class.
Oh, good.
And then,
brutal.
Biscuits, you better not be laughing because we all know I'm faster than you.
Yeah.
And then, from there it just became, a skinny kids class. If you look at guys like, Lee Nicolo, Brad Jenner, Nick Percat, for example, they're all overweight for X30.
Me.
I think Brad's right on the line. And they're all skinny. Like,
Nicolo's not skinny anymore.
No, but he's not tall and chunky. He's sort of normal and a normal height, and he's overweight. He can't run X30.
Yeah,
it's just a skinny kids class. So that's what attracted me to the dirt, and then the numbers. And your entry fees, Australian titles for the dirt, $95. Bitumen, you're looking at $280 or whatever it is. Plus you need tyres. Dirt, you don't need tyres. It's just massive cost, numbers things. Like you look at our entries, $550 or whatever it was for the Aussie titles. It's just crazy.
Well, mate.
Speaking of entries, what Ultimate Club Race? What was up with that? Did we ever get to the bottom of how it was a $200 Ultimate Club Day?
No, there's nothing about club days when it comes to a $200 entry fee.
Yeah, exactly. Price point out of the window.
Yeah. All right, mate.
I'll leave it with you. I just didn't want Biscuits to scare all the guys.
I think you've done a good job of salvaging it. So
well played, mate. Well played. Look after yourself, mate. And we'll see you both on the tools and with us next year on in the pits and in the studio.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, mate. See you there. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Cash, a la KFC, a la my engineer, a la the modern Ross Brawn after his surprise appearance at the 500 on the cans on the weekend. I'm talking about the headset.
Yep.
Yeah, looked very, very professional, especially when he was lining Damara up on the grid, and then he was walking away, pressing the button on the.
I thought he had a bit of Ludo LaCroix about him.
It was very, very impressive. Very impressive. Speaking of impressive, Jamie's jokes, please, sir.
Now it's time for Jamie's joke of the week. Let's get ready to laugh our socks off.
Here we go.
For the last time for 2022. So, my wife blocked me on Facebook because I post too many bird puns. Well, two can play at that game.
That is bad.
Someone asked me to name two structures that hold water, and I was like, well, damn.
Oh my goodness. We're reaching new levels of low here, guys.
We're now reaching the holy season. So I accidentally drank holy water with my laxatives. I'm about to start a religious movement.
There is police outside they are coming for you for how bad these jokes are.
Oh, God. I'm giving up drinking for a month. Sorry, that came out wrong. I'm giving up. I'm drinking for a month.
That's about... Yeah, no, it is the holy season, so that's pretty timely for you.
There's all the wife
Where do
jokes
these
all
keep
sudden.
coming from? God.
I was struggling to get my wife's attention, so I simply sat down and looked comfortable. That did the trick.
Yep. That's standard. That is... yep. They always pick that time. Yep.
Waiter, do you want a box for your leftover food? Dad, no thanks, but I'll wrestle you for them.
Oh dear.
My son just became a priest. From now on, he wants me to call him father.
I don't know what I've done in a past life to have to endure this.
This is your fault. You allowed this from the start. You should have nipped this in the bud first step.
My wife said she's leaving me because of my obsession with tennis, and I'm too old. And I said, I'm only 40, love.
Now that one almost hits a little bit too close to home for you, doesn't it? And I'm noticing a high level of wife jokes in this one. Is everything okay at home, Jamie?
Everything's fine, but you know what?
What's up?
You are the person that stole my selfie stick, and you need to take a long look at yourself.
Sure.
Wow.
You have gone as red as your t-shirt. Yeah, as red as your t-shirt. No, they don't get any better. They
Can we
somehow
turn the
manage to get
phone
worse.
reception off?
Yeah. They just turn his mic off. That's what I reckon.
Go on, I dare you.
All right, well, two more. All right. So two, and I'll give you three. 3 weeks ago, I sent my hearing aids in for repair, and I've heard nothing since.
Oh my goodness!
That one hit too close to Smurfs home.
Yeah. Yep. Now is this equal 10th joke or equal first?
Joke.
You better finish. This is the last joke.
I think Michael Massey gave away his last joke.
A sweater I bought was picking up static electricity, so I returned it to the store. They gave me another one free of charge.
God.
Oh boy, oh boy.
He's found the equal 10th one.
I found the equal 10th one.
The equal 10th, yep.
I misplaced Dwayne Johnson's cutting tool for the origami workshop. I can't believe I lost the rocks, paper, scissors.
Oh my goodness! And I'm glad that is the last one for the year. That is the last one.
That could be the last one
ever. Yeah, this may be a segment.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe a segment that does not return next year. Well, what a year it's been. I'll let you give a couple of minutes to recover over there.
What's your biggest moment of the year? Motorsport wide.
Motorsport wide?
Anything.
The biggest moment might be you blowing up the microphone if you keep...
the biggest moment is old mate Chastain with the move around the outside Martinsville up against the fence.
Yeah, the Hail
Mary. Hail Mary. Yeah.
Hail Watermelon.
Yeah,
I would probably.
Yeah, you know what? I'd say that. I haven't seen a move like that ever.
Ever.
That's won it for me for sure.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, mate, thank you very much for coming on the show, Biscuits. Thank you for fulfilling your end of the bargain. Mr. Cash gave us a little brief cameo there. That winds us up for the year.
Absolutely.
Mate, it's been what a journey, hey?
Absolutely.
We've done it all. We've done Miami. We've done delayed telecasts. We've had cold sore in the eyes. We've had liver tumour removals. We've had great comeback stories like yours. We've had dad's jokes. We've had all sorts of stuff going on. It's been a fun-filled year, and without the support of our listeners and the support of the local motorsport community, this wouldn't be possible. But also thank you, my friend, for a job well done for season 2022.
Thank you. And also thank you to all of the wonderful staff here at Radio Italia Uno that have helped us and given us the platform to have our voice. We will be back next year. Like it or not, we will be coming back and an interactive segment. We're going to liked that phone call. We're going to try and bring some more in, but yeah.
We reckon Jamie's karaoke.
No.
Massive thanks to Mark Aston. Massive thanks to Ron from Podcast City Studios for their support and mentoring over the course of this year. Leigh is right. We will be back maybe February, I think. Maybe. We'll see how we go. But definitely in 2023, keep an eye out for announcements that come out in the not-too-distant future. Merry Christmas to everyone, and have a safe New Year, and good night.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.